Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha, Naruto, You Were Born as a Devil. Chapter 21. Next to the bathroom, there is a residence separated by only a wall. Azuki Yugao's childhood sweetheart, Moonlight Gale, is humming a little tune and cooking today's dinner. The successful completion of the diplomatic mission brought him a great sense of accomplishment and comfort. If Konoha and Kumo unite, then an infinitely bright future is just around the corner. And at this moment, he really wants to share this good news with his childhood sweetheart. So, after cooking dinner, he quickly rushed to the next door. Yugao. The dark courtyard here is in sharp contrast to his own brightly lit house. One side is in the light. The other side is completely shrouded in the night. With doubts, he knocked on the door of Qingmei's house. Knock knock knock. Yugao. Moonlight Gale shouted, but there was no response. It was not until the fifth knock that the light in the bathroom came on. Soon, he saw Qingmei, with wet hair, open the door. Obviously, Qingmei was taking a bath just now. Looking at Xian coming out of the bath, Jiafeng could not help but stand there in a daze. Soon, he smiled. Xian, you seem to have become more beautiful. Yugong Jiafeng did not know that his childhood sweetheart had just been awakened by his knocking on the door. He quickly got up from the bathtub, only to find that the water inside had already become cold. He wiped his body carelessly, put on his clothes, and opened the door. Before he could think, he saw Jiafeng, who came to the door in person. At Qingmei's invitation, Xian followed him to the next door. The sumptuous dinner whetted her appetite. However, Xian suddenly found that her appetite still seemed to be not very good. She vaguely remembered some things in her mind. Probably Naruto knocked her down. Then, she was in a coma for 2 days. Just as the Jinchuriki's rampage is risky, it may lose the memory of the rampage. Xian, who suffered the erosion of the Nine Tails chakra in her brain, also lost some of her memory. Xian only remembered that she left Naruto's house in a daze, and then she didn't know how she came back. The memory became more and more hazy, as if she had a dream. Xian, what's wrong with you? Moonlight Gale blinked. Nothing. Maybe I was a little tired from the mission. I fell asleep without turning on the light just now, and I woke up to find that it was dark. Xian smiled awkwardly. The warm dinner atmosphere continued. The two talked and laughed, and it seemed that nothing strange happened. When dinner was over, Xian was going to wash the dishes with Qingmei, but suddenly felt a little unwell. Xian, if you are tired, go to bed early. In Qingmei's gentle embrace, Xian nodded and left. Good night, Gale. Standing on the second floor, Xian opened the window and waved to her childhood sweetheart. The latter smiled back. When the figure of Moonlight Gale disappeared behind the wall, Xian immediately closed the window. The indescribable heat made her take off her clothes quickly. It was a cold winter, but she felt abnormally hot. It's so hot, Yu Yan murmured in a low voice, took off her underwear, and quickly soaked in the bathtub. Only then did she feel a little cooler. However, this action of putting out the fire was a drop in the bucket. Soon, a hotter heat surged into her heart and quickly spread to her whole body. Woo! Yu Yan closed her eyes and felt her whole body was hot, even her cheeks. Wow! The water in the bathtub was stirred because of the twisting of her body. She held her hands on the edge of the bathtub, and her fingers searched back and forth for the cold ceramic edge. But this could not completely relieve the heat. Wow! Yu Yan put her hands into the bathtub, and then she touched something. It might be ice. Finally, it started to get cooler. The Hyuga clan's residence. This ancient and conservative clan ushered in a curfew early. The moon began to rise at night, the stars in the sky became more and more shining, and the Hyuga clan's residence became silent. Hinata lay in bed, eyes open and did not fall asleep. Until the next room came Hyuga Shaw's serious question. Hinata-sama, please go to sleep as soon as possible. Okay. Hinata answered her hurriedly, and then closed her eyes. In her mind, Hinata was still thinking about that question. Tomorrow is my birthday. Naruto-kun, will he come? Until she fell asleep, Hinata was still thinking about it. Quote! In the early morning, Azuki Yugao woke up from her sleep. She suddenly got up and sat on the big bed, like the end of a hangover. The light in the bedroom was a little dim. Staring at Yugao in front of her, her mind kept flashing the absurd experience of last night. She raised her right hand and looked at her 5 fingers, which were as slender and white as green onions, as if something had grown on them. Soon, Xian's eyes began to tremble, and her cheeks were flushed. Shame surged in her heart, making her feel ashamed. Last night, while soaking in the bathtub, she couldn't help but practice the lightning release ninjutsu to dispel the unspeakable heat. As an elite member of the Anbu, Xian is familiar with all the structures of the human body and all the physiological activities of the human body. She has been clean since she was a child and has never stepped out of line, but she did such a ridiculous thing last night. Xian got up with a self-pitying mood, and didn't think about the question, why, at the first time. Pulling open the curtains, it was just dawn outside. Before she left the window, her childhood sweetheart standing outside the yard was already waving at her. Xian smiled back, but her smile seemed a little stiff. Watching the gust of wind on the street in the distance, Xian kept thinking about the cause and effect in her heart. She thought about everything, but she didn't suspect Naruto. Naturally, she didn't know that Naruto fed her during the 2 days of coma. Gas. Opening the window, Xian was about to say something, but suddenly felt something strange in her cheek muscles. To be precise, it was the pain in her chewing muscles that made it difficult for her to speak. What puzzled her even more was that when she waved to her childhood sweetheart, her right hand accidentally brushed across her body. Something warm slowly flowed down. It might be raining. After all, the weather outside didn't seem to be very sunny. It might also be the water escape that only ninjas can release. What happened to me? Xian looked at this scene, her eyes widened, and she couldn't help but stand there in shock. An hour later, the front of the Hokage building gradually became lively. A large number of ninjas came in and out, and they were making final preparations after receiving the transfer order. Xian, who hurriedly sorted out everything, also rushed to the office. The order she received was to do a good job of dark protection at the entrance of Konoha. In a short while, the diplomatic mission of Kumogakure will officially arrive. In addition to the ninjas of Kumogakure, there were also officials from the official country of Thunder. They brought the willingness to negotiate peace. Years of friction have made the people of the Land of Fire suffer for a long time. Now that the 2 countries have made peace, all the villagers spontaneously rushed to the entrance to welcome the other side. For Konoha, today is a memorable festival. It will be lively later, and the security work will be carried out by the Open Uchiha Police Department and the Anbu. After receiving the task, Yugao nodded and left quickly. In the corridor outside the office, she passed by Uchiha Shisui. After a while, Shisui, who also received the transfer order, temporarily put down his work and went to greet the Kumogakure diplomatic mission as a ceremonial guard. After leaving the Hokage building, Shisui immediately returned to the Uchiha clan's residence. After the Nine Tails Rebellion, the Uchiha clan moved to a place on the edge of Konoha. Not only is it far away from the center of the village, it is also the location of the Minaga River Shrine, the birthplace of the Uchiha clan. The local river is also named Minaga River. The steep cliffs, the pine vegetation, the complex terrain, constitute a special natural landscape. Today, when passing by an extremely familiar place, a roar and a strong chakra reaction attracted Shisui's attention. He stopped and quickly pushed aside the bushes to rush over. When he arrived at the clearing in the forest, he was shocked by the scene in front of him. The source of that powerful chakra reaction was actually a child. In the center of the clearing, Naruto was wantonly exerting his own power. Naruto, covered with the tailed beast coat, looked like a small human-shaped tailed beast. Boom boom boom. Wherever the claws covered with the tailed beast coat hit, the trees were broken. It was as simple as cutting down a piece of weeds. Naruto kept jumping and moving, and the chakra tail growing from his back became an excellent offensive weapon. With the command of Naruto's will, the tail was like an arm, sweeping away all obstacles in front of him like a silk thread. This scene made Shisui stunned. He thought that he was special enough with the Mangekyo Sharingan. At this moment, seeing Naruto controlling the power of the tailed beast, he couldn't help but feel incredible. What on earth is this? Staring at Naruto's smooth movements, Shisui was speechless for a long time. Boom! Naruto released the final collision. It was not a skill at all, just a very brutal collision. The boulder as tall as a person shattered into countless pieces. The surging wind and gravel forced Shisui to raise his arms to block. The dust covered the open space. When all the dust settled, Naruto's stopped figure finally appeared. Demon Fox. Uzumaki Naruto. Shisui recognized Naruto's identity. He was still young and had not joined the Anbu at this age, so he naturally did not know Naruto's true identity. Like the people of Konoha who followed the crowd, in Shisui's eyes, Naruto was just the incarnation of the demon fox. At such a young age, he showed such terrible power. The impact on Shisui can be imagined. Lang was racking his brains, and Shisui had never heard of such a terrible thing. In his eyes, Naruto's threat level has almost risen to the first echelon. Naruto, I found you. Quote exclamation mark quote. Naruto's sudden turnaround made Shisui alert immediately. Hello, sorry to bother you, I just passed by here and heard some noise, so. Shisui, who is very good at dealing with people and has a good relationship with people, immediately explained to Naruto the reason why he was here in a humble manner. Quote. Naruto did not answer immediately, and his eyes looked at the lining of Shisui's clothes. The round fan pattern on it is very conspicuous. Big brother, are you from the Uchiha clan? Yes. Shisui's arm moved. The people of the Uchiha clan, whether in appearance or clothing patterns, have a clear indication. It can be said to be very high profile. I have a friend. Naruto took out a piece of paper like a magic trick. There were portrait graffiti drawn on it with crayons. The immature lines make the characters quite abstract. But Shisui still recognized the other person at a glance. After all, that arrogant look, he would never forget it even if he was beaten to death. Isn't this Itachi's sister Seiko? He was surprised in his heart why the demon fox boy knew Itachi's sister, but on the surface, Shisui remained calm. I have something else to do, so I won't bother you anymore. He didn't say that he knew Seiko in the painting, nor did he say that he didn't know her. Shisui found an excuse and left immediately. Because it would be faster to ask Itachi directly than to ask the notorious and hated Uzumaki Naruto. As a sister control, Itachi, who knew everything about his sister, could definitely ask him something. Realizing the seriousness of the problem, Shisui disappeared in a flash. Naruto nodded involuntarily. As expected of instant body Shisui. Nine-Tail. Boy. Nine-Tail deliberately ran here early in the morning, and he didn't think Naruto was looking for a random target. After all these years of getting along, the recent changes have allowed Nine-Tail to guess that its host is planning something again. What is it? Nine-Tail doesn't know, but it knows that as long as it waits, it will see an interesting and exciting scene sooner or later. The residence of the Uchiha clan. Shisui arrived outside the Itachi family's residence. Before entering the yard, he heard laughter coming from inside. Itachi. Standing at the entrance of the open door, Shisui called softly. In the living room, Itachi stood up from the tatami and left his mother and sister. Shisui nodded to Makoto as a greeting, and then pulled Itachi aside. Itachi, good morning. After a simple greeting and discussing the upcoming visit of the Kumo delegation today, Shisui asked the question in his heart. Your sister Seiko seems to have met an incredible person. Staring at Seiko who was talking and laughing with her mother in the living room, Shisui told what he saw and heard on the way today. Through Shisui's words, Itachi completely confirmed the identity of the person who had been getting along with his sister all the time, Uzumaki Naruto, who was called Demon Fox. Uzumaki Naruto's identity is very sensitive. Itachi is still a genin at present, so naturally he doesn't know Naruto's true identity. Shisui had not yet joined the Anbu, so he also knew nothing about it. The strength shown by that demon fox boy is extraordinary. I'm afraid that ordinary Chunin is not his opponent. Shisui shrugged. This is still a conservative estimate. It is unimaginable, and it may even surpass any ninja he has seen before. After all, who can train such a powerful chakra at such a young age? Shisui, do you mean? Uzumaki Naruto approached Seiko for other purposes. Who knows? Shisui gave an ambiguous answer. After all, Uzumaki Naruto's identity is too sensitive, and this matter is not a joke. You, as a brother, have to be careful. Because of the situation of the Uchiha clan, Shisui's attitude towards the village has always been treading on thin ice. It is inevitable that there will always be a surprise. I will pay attention. Itachi nodded and took this matter to heart. Then, the two entered the yard together. Brother, let's go. Seiko, who had already prepared in advance, couldn't wait and wanted to see what foreign ninjas looked like. Today will be a carnival celebration for the entire Konoha. Itachi and Shisui will both have time to pay attention to this diplomacy. And Makoto, the weather is nice today. Shisui, who was traveling with him, was chatting with his elder Makoto. Itachi, who was standing by, understood that this was a hint from a friend. So Itachi said to his sister, Seiko, how are you getting along with your friend? I've said we're not friends anymore. Seiko immediately shook her head and denied it. Today, the sister changed into a new outfit and looked very heroic. By observing the sister's demeanor and tone, Itachi could tell that the sister actually recognized her friend. That is Naruto Uzumaki. I think his name is Uzumaki Naruto. Did I mention his name? Zuozi scratched his head. That friend of yours seems to be very unusual and very powerful. Itachi began to talk. How is that possible? Seiko immediately showed an impossible expression. Then he blinked again, as if he thought of something. It's not bad. He's relatively outstanding among his peers, but that guy is actually stupid. Seeing the smile that appeared on his sister's lips, Itachi was sure. If what Shisui said was true, that means my sister doesn't know Uzumaki Naruto's true strength. Maybe I need to visit that demon fox boy in person. This is all for the safety of my sister. Itachi muttered in his mind. The entrance to Konoha, the huge building at the junction of the huge city, called the Meeting Gate, was already bustling with people. Early in the morning, the roads were lined with people and grassroots ninjas. The police officers of the Uchiha clan, headed by Uchiha Fugaku, were working very nervously to maintain order. Anbu sentries placed everywhere in the dark are also preventing any sabotage crimes. The Uchiha, Sarutobi clan, Inagacho, family ninjas and residents of all sizes were also lined up to greet them, waiting for the arrival of the Kumogakur mission. In such a crowded posture, Itachi had to hold his sister's right hand tightly to prevent him from being squeezed apart. Just as Itachi was observing the surroundings, at the top of a building, Naruto was also looking at everything. The Kumogakur mission will arrive in more than 10 minutes. Everyone's emotions continued to rise. Naruto, who decided to recognize the mission's true identity, decided to stay here for a while. Once you memorize everyone's appearance, you can respond at light speed when an accident occurs. A gentleman does not stand behind a dangerous wall. Naruto said a warning. What's the meaning? The cultural core is completely different, resulting in Kyuubi not understanding this sentence at all. Especially when Naruto read it directly in Chinese characters, it became like garbled ordering in Kyuubi's ears. Kyuubi, you don't study enough, you need to study more. Kyuubi, your chakra can be read as Chidora and you still say that I. After all, I was taught writing and knowledge by the immortal of 6 paths back then, okay. When Kyuubi was cursing Naruto in his heart, the scene changed again. Itachi-kun. In the crowd, a beautiful girl suddenly appeared, waving to Itachi. She has a pair of big eyes, like an elf. The tear mole under the right eye adds a different kind of charm to it. An innocent girl, exuding the breath of youth. The extremely long black hair indicates her bloodline. Uchiha's hybrid child, Uchiha Izumi. Her mother's name is Uchiha Hazuki, an ordinary member of the Uchiha clan. Many years ago, I married a foreign man and received the blessings of my tribe. During the Nine Tails Rebellion, Quan's father died to protect the young Quan. She also opened the Sharingan after witnessing her father's death. When the Uchiha clan relocated collectively, Izumi returned to the clan with her mother. Although he is a mixed race, no one treats Quan as an outsider. Not only because Izumi awakened the Uchiha clan's iconic Sharingan, it also foreshadowed the Uchiha clan's unique warmth towards their compatriots. During the ninja school, Itachi and Izumi were classmates in the next class. The two have known each other for a long time. Facing Quan's greeting, Itachi, who held his sister's hand, hesitated. So, his best friend gave him a push. Itachi, this girl is so enthusiastic. If you don't respond, it won't make sense. With a teasing tone, Shisui pushed Itachi and brought him and Izumi together. She is Zuozi, who had never seen Quan, couldn't help but blinked. There are so many people in the Uchiha clan, and it is of course impossible for Seiko, who is still young, to recognize everyone. She's your brother's girlfriend. How do you feel about it, Zuozi? Shisui touched Sako's head with his palm. Zuozi was stunned. Girlfriend, couldn't that be her future sister-in-law? It's great to be young. Watching her eldest son interact with Izumi, Makoto couldn't help but smile kindly. Above everyone's heads, Naruto was also watching all this and fixed his gaze firmly on this Uchiha girl. Naruto, who recognized Uchiha Izumi's identity at a glance, suddenly thought of many things. Hey, Uzumaki Naruto. Seiko moved Shisui's big hand away, and when he accidentally looked up, he saw Naruto standing above his head with a calm look on his face. The unprecedented calm expression made Naruto's usually silly face become rare and condensed. Zuozi blinked, feeling a strange feeling in his heart. Is it my own illusion? Still, oh. Suddenly, the roar of the crowd filled the entire city gate like thunder. The arrival of the Kumogakur delegation caused the people of Konoha to cheer collectively. The crowd was moving. The petals fell like raindrops all over the sky. The one-eyed leader of the Kumogakur ninja took the lead in entering the gate and raised his right hand to gesture to both sides of the road. Although he was smiling, a fierce feeling arose spontaneously. Naruto ignored Seiko's shout, or pretended not to hear it. His eyes quickly swept across the face of the one-eyed dragon, and then looked at the other ninjas of the Kumogakur delegation and officials of the Land of Lightning. 1, 2, 3. Including the ninja leader, there are a total of 8 ninjas. Including the leading officials and assistants, there are a total of 4 bureaucrats. The Kumogakur delegation has a total of 12 people. Naruto, who remembered everyone's faces, nodded gently. Then, took a step and flew to the roofs of various buildings. Hey, Uzumaki Naruto, Seiko, who was swaying left and right in the crowded sea of people, couldn't help herself. When the crowd was finally pushed aside, Uzumaki Naruto had completely disappeared. At the same time, at the Hyuga clan's residence, Hinata, who was standing in front of the mirror, was not wearing any makeup. But she was dressed up. Hair was combed and she was wearing a brand new kimono. Hinata Shaw was busy with these things, and finally reviewed everything. Okay, Hinata-sama, today is the birthday of the eldest daughter of the head of the main family, Hyuga Hiyashi. The entire Hyuga clan is preparing for this event. Therefore, Hyuga became the only clan that did not go to line up to welcome the Kumogakur delegation. There is a special reason for doing this. A group of children from the branch family have grown up, and their foreheads have not yet been branded with the caged bird mark. Taking advantage of the birthday of the main family's heirs, the children of the branch family will be arranged in accordance with their identities. Since ancient times, this has been the tradition of the Hyuga clan. It is also the process for the main family to show its majesty in front of the branch family. Naruto-kun, Hinata, who was thinking about Naruto, did not notice the maid's call. It was not until Hyuga Shaw spoke again and again that Hinata reacted. Hinata-sama, why have you been distracted these 2 days? Hyuga Shaw frowned. Please concentrate, otherwise you will suffer if the clan leader finds out. Oh, okay. Remembering her father's severity, Hinata nodded immediately. Then, she left the room with Hyuga Shaw. In the corridor outside, clan leader, Hinata-sama is ready. Hinata Natsu greeted Hinata Hazatsu and other clan members who also put on new clothes. The latter nodded and asked Hinata Natsu to go to the entrance of Konoha to attend the welcome ceremony. Although the entire Hinata could not be present due to the birthday of the clan eldest daughter, this did not mean that a single person would be sent to collect information. Being exquisite on all sides is a basic skill that a group should have if it wants to survive. Yes, Hinata Shaw nodded and immediately accepted the order. Then, let's go too. Hinata and his family members quickly left the clan's mansion. Wait for Hinata Natsu to arrive at the entrance of the clan's residence. A certain prying gaze from the outside world aroused her alertness. In terms of visual insight, no one is better than the Hyuga clan. So facing this gaze, the very sensitive Hinata Shaw immediately glanced over. That's not. In her sight, the sneaky figure was constantly peeking inside the Hyuga clan's residence. Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. Hinata Natsu stopped at the entrance of the clan's camp and stared at the peepers in the distance with an unkind expression. The sneaky and clumsy appearance of the other party made her dissatisfaction even deeper. The demon fox boy Uzumaki Naruto was the culprit who caused serious damage to Konoha back then. Like most villagers, in Hinata Shaw's eyes, the other party is the spokesperson of heinous crimes. This made Sister Naruto was discovered and cautiously walked out of the trees. This reserved look did not make Hinata Natsu feel any compassion. As Naruto got closer, the disgust in her white eyes almost overflowed. Shadows covered the face of the Hinata branch maid. The cold light in his eyes made Naruto stop. The difference in age and height brings about a condescending look down from above. Hinata Natsu, who is 2 years older than Uazuki Yugon, has a slim figure and a well-developed figure. Over the dark kimono, she wears a white maid outfit, which vividly outlines her curvy figure. It is obviously extremely conservative, and can even be called old-fashioned clothing, but it still feels very astringent when worn. Coupled with this extremely harsh and disgusting face, Naruto's heart began to slowly undergo some changes. For Kyuubi, the dark sewer suddenly became a little brighter. This situation usually represents the host's secretion of adrenaline, or gradual excitement. Why be excited? Even after living for 1,000 years, Kyuubi still doesn't understand many things. There is a kind of XP, which is that the more disgusted the other party is, the more excited I am. Of course, Naruto wouldn't explain. Excuse me, is Hinata at home? Naruto scratched his head, pretending to be shy. That morning, I saw you, sister, taking Hinata shopping in the commercial street. Shut up. Before Naruto could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Hinata Shaw. Today is a special day. Almost all the villagers in Konoha ran to watch Kumogaku's diplomatic team. The Hyuga clan members celebrated Hinata's birthday internally. Therefore, it was empty here, except for the 2 people standing at the door, bringing some popularity to the place. Hinata Natsu, who didn't want to listen to Naruto at all, didn't intend to show any good looks. Everyone calls him a demon fox to beat, so why should we treat him well? Hinata-sama's name is not something someone like you is qualified to shout. Hinata-sama is the heir to the Hyuga clan. What is this demon fox Uzumaki Naruto? He is not qualified to associate with Hinata-sama at all. Leave here immediately, and don't approach Hinata-sama in the future. But Naruto immediately looked confused. Beads of sweat oozed from his forehead, very cramped and small. Hinata Shaw. No but. Leave immediately. This is the last warning. Aha. As the soles of your feet scratch the ground. The Hinata's maid immediately assumed a soft fist stance. Soft fist warning. At this moment, the other party's face showed disgust, almost to the extreme. Even Kyuubi, who has spent a long time, has never seen such a disgusting gesture. However, Kyuubi yawned and was not worried at all. Because it was clear throughout that Naruto had been acting. Deliberately show weakness and then let people fall into the trap. This was true for Azuki Shion, and now this human female named Hinata Natsu has also fallen into the trap set by Naruto, the brat. She's finished. Without thinking, Kyuubi roughly guessed Hinata Shaw's fate. Okay. Naruto pretended to be disappointed and immediately walked away. Because he was too scared, after being warned by Rufist, Naruto even, accidentally, tripped and almost fell down. Seeing Naruto's embarrassed appearance, Hinata Shaw's mood relaxed slightly. Snort. She snorted coldly and put down her posture. Taking old-fashioned but dignified steps, he quickly left here. Naruto walked a little further and found a bush to squat down. Naruto planned to squat like this until night. The so-called, wait and wait. What do you mean? The bored Kyuubi took over. Kyuubi, you should study more. Kyuubi, Lord Patriarch, congratulations. Inside the Hyuga clan's residence, there is an insurmountable gap between the clan family and the branch family. On this vacant land, the clan members of the clan and branch families met. Hinata Hazashi, who also put on new clothes, is Hinata Hazashi's younger brother. He took his separated companions to congratulate his brother. The little boy standing next to Hinata Hazashi had a delicate face. The adult's conversation failed to attract his attention. Dad, She is so beautiful. Neji raised his head and looked at his father. The person he was referring to in his words was naturally the eldest daughter of the clan, that is, his cousin Hinata. Quote. Facing his son's words, Hinata Hazashi's expression was extremely complicated. Because, then, Hazashi, Neji, and the other children will be left to us. Hinata Hinashi announced the future of Neji and the other children with a straight face. These children of school age who have been separated will be marked with the mark of a caged bird and lose their freedom completely. Neji, who still didn't know his fate, just walked over happily. His smiling face was always looking at Hinata. At this moment, Hinata was a little melancholy. Just now she secretly opened her Byakugan and glanced outside the station, and happened to find Azia scolding Naruto. First, I was surprised by Naruto-kun's arrival. Then he felt sad because of Naruto's embarrassed appearance. Asha, why do you all treat Naruto-kun like this? This scene stung her deeply. Soon after, Ninki followed the clan members of the clan to the clan's headquarters. In a special room, after being given the caged bird seal, a dark green curse mark permanently appeared on his forehead. Casually wrap a white medical bandage around your forehead. Neji walked out of the room and saw his father who had come. Hazashi and his son came to the training ground of the main family. Hinata took a stance and began her father Hazashi's soft fist training. Looking at the eldest daughter of the main family who had no talent but got everything. Thinking of her son Neji who was obviously a genius but could only become a slave. Combined with her own experience, Hazashi's overwhelming resentment turned into a subtle killing intent. It was this killing intent that was noticed by his brother. In front of Neji, Hazashi activated the seal of the bird in the cage. Looking at his painful father, Neji, who was crying non-stop, hated the main family for the first time. The seeds of hatred were planted, waiting for the future to blossom and bear fruit. The sky outside the courtyard was already dusk at this time. And in Hinata's Byakugan sight, Naruto had been waiting there. From morning to dusk, night, after a celebration, the birthday party of the eldest daughter of the Hyuga main family came to an end. Hinata returned to the room, even more depressed. The darkness outside the window permeated the room inside the paper sliding door. When everything became completely dark, Hinata could no longer hold back, quickly stood up and ran to the kitchen. When she got here, she quickly took out a cloth bag and began to stuff various foods into the bag. From day to afternoon, and then to night, Naruto-kun never left. Naruto-kun wiped a tear that fell. After packing the food, Hinata ran out of the kitchen with a bang. In the courtyard, the sky that was originally illuminated by the silver moonlight was suddenly covered with dark clouds. A large shadow covered the scene. Hinata, who took a few steps out, suddenly bumped into a tall shadow. Woo! Hinata, who was in pain from hitting her head, just stood firm. When she looked up, she saw a pair of extremely ferocious eyes. A few seconds later, the cloth bag fell to the ground. The packed food rolled everywhere. When the dark clouds in the sky passed and the moonlight reappeared, Hinata and the shadow disappeared completely. Soon, the lights in the Hyuga clan's residence, which had fallen into silence, were lit up. Noisy calls rang out. Soon, many figures left the residence and chased out. Tonight's night seems particularly long. Naruto squatted in the grass, counting the stars in the sky out of boredom. No matter how many times you look at it, you will understand that the moon in this world is different from that in the previous life. The phrase, as big as a silver plate, is no longer just a beautiful hope and extravagant wish. The bright moon hanging in the sky is indeed huge enough to be seen with the naked eye. In such a peaceful night, a figure ran out of the Hyuga clan's residence. He was holding something in his arms. Behind him in the distance was a group of pursuers. Among the group of pursuers, a shadow quickly broke away from the other figures and chased after the fleeing one. At a glance, Naruto understood what was going on. Hinata was kidnapped. Hey, this is Konoha's internal defense. The Nine Tails shared everything he saw outside through Naruto's vision with disdain. More than a week ago, the mask shop owner was arson and murder. The group of idiots in the Konoha high-level officials had clearly strengthened the village's defense, but such a thing still happened tonight. Of course, there was also the case of Kushina being kidnapped, etc. The Nine Tails complained about these things in his heart. Naruto did not comment on the Nine Tails' comments. Kyuubi, you laugh at the idiots in the high-level officials, I laugh at you for not understanding politics. Fighting with the Hidden Cloud Village for so many years. Even the second-generation Hokage was killed by the Kinkaku and Ginkaku of Hidden Cloud Village. How could the Konoha high-level officials not know the true face of these guys in Hidden Cloud Village? Filtered all kinds of conspiracy theories, including the views that the high-level officials suppressed the Hinata, in his mind. Naruto was ready to act. Wait, kid, look over there. The Nine Tails reminded Naruto not to be reckless. Because this time it's not a game within Konoha. The ninjas to be faced are the guys from Kumogakure. For this visit, Kumogakure sent 8 ninjas and 4 powerless dignitaries. Except for the guy who kidnapped Hinata, the remaining 7 figures are running quickly in the moonlight. Obviously, these 7 guys are the support. Naruto looked around, as if making a judgment. A few seconds later, Naruto quickly ran in the direction of the support. Because if these 7 people can't be intercepted, then Hinata will most likely be kidnapped. Where are the people from Konoha's Anbu? That bunch of good-for-nothings. Seeing Naruto's decisive action, the Nine Tails could only insult the Anbu of Konoha. But in the end, it's not an insult. After all, in the comics, as long as the Anbu of Konoha appears, it will definitely be accompanied by a lunchbox or a bad start. Dark clouds kept passing through the sky, occasionally covering the moon. Especially when the wind blew, it further confirmed the setting of a dark and windy night for murder. Naruto did not show up immediately. Instead, he chose to approach the 7 people in a more secretive way. I have practiced. I, Uzumaki Naruto, have become so strong through my own efforts. I have killed people and seen blood. After becoming an ordinary person, it is time to fight with real ninjas. Otherwise, it is better not to practice at all than to spend so much time practicing. Swish. I saw Naruto slowly bend down while running. Soon, he changed from a 2-legged beast to a 4-legged beast. Running on all 4s can not only hide oneself, but also play a mimicry role with the Nine Tails chakra. It is just like the ancient 5 animals play, or various tiger fists, snake fists, etc. martial arts. The source of the power of the Jinchuriki is the tailed beast with animal nature. Running on all 4s is a return to nature. As the scarlet light like a needle tip lit up in his pupils, Naruto's eyes also turned into vertical pupils at this moment. The 6 whisker-like birthmarks were stained with the same red. The teeth became longer, the hands and feet became sharper, and even the golden hair began to stand up. In this state, Naruto instantly felt a breath of freedom. As he adapted to this state, Naruto's running speed became faster and faster. When Naruto flew over the roof like lightning and passed by a cat, the cat's expression instantly turned into astonishment. Just as the latter was thinking about what kind of new human being this was. Naruto had already approached the 7 Kumogakure ninjas. This was Naruto's first attempt at a free posture. The body's running speed was getting faster and faster, and Naruto could even clearly feel that more Nine Tails chakra was leaking out from the 8 diagram seal. Why? Since Naruto sensed it, the Nine Tails could naturally feel it too. It was full of surprise and confusion at the scene in front of it. It was so compatible with its own chakra. Could it be? Uzumaki Naruto is. The Nine Tails, who vaguely sensed something and made a guess, shook his head and said it was impossible in his heart. If it was the reincarnation of Ashura chakra, how could he have such a devilish mind? The peace-loving Ashura and the inhuman Uzumaki Naruto, they are not the same kind of people. However, facts speak louder than words. Naruto, who used the Nine Tails chakra to the extreme, felt unprecedented power. The first unlucky guy who was jumping and running on the roof had no time to react. He was pounced from the roof by Naruto using all 4 limbs. Before he landed, Naruto swung his claws and tore his throat with one blow. Swish. Warm blood splattered, and Naruto, who smelled the bloody smell, felt neither excitement nor pity. Just like slaughtering a chicken, Naruto, who had completed the killing of a fellow ninja for the first time, quickly jumped to the second target at the moment when the corpse plopped to the ground. Under the moonlight, the visiting ninja leader from Kumogakure, with Hinata under his armpit, was running fast on the streets of Konoha. In terms of familiarity with the terrain, he was certainly not as good as these white-eyed guys. Not to mention, the white eyes of the Hyuga clan have the ability to see through, and the night vision special effect of ignoring night brought by capturing chakra. It is difficult to get rid of them. However, the ninjas of Kumogakure are not useless people who can't do anything. As long as the 7 companions in front of him can block him with their lives, he can pass through the walls of Konoha and reach the outside world. After getting outside, no matter how powerful these Konoha guys are, they can't catch up with him. After all, in this era, there is no second Golden Flash. However, just when he was full of pride and planning everything, the bloody smell in front of him suddenly stopped him. At the same time, Hyuga Hyashi's steps also stopped. The two stopped in a straight and spacious alley. The 2 walls on the left and right are connected at a glance. Hyuga Hyashi looked solemn and slowly opened the soft fist posture. The opponent's speed is not slow, and there is a possibility of threatening Hinata at any time. Then, everything will be blocked on the 8 trigrams empty palm, the fastest soft fist of the Hyuga clan. Just when Hyuga Hyashi made up his mind to win a chance for his eldest daughter with the consciousness of a ninja, a childish low voice interrupted his thoughts. Uncle with white eyes, you don't need to do it. Under the pale moonlight, Naruto stood on the wall on the left, looking down at the 3 people from the end. Naruto-kun. Hinata, who was in low spirits, slowly raised her head and looked up. Naruto, you shouldn't have taken action either. Hyuga Hyashi, who didn't know the truth, didn't know that once he took action, it would lead to an irreversible tragedy. This thief in night clothes was not an ordinary robber. His true identity was the leader of the ninja from the hidden cloud village who came to Konoha to pretend to seek peace. Quote! The latter also looked up at Naruto, who suddenly appeared. The blood stains stained Naruto's face, adding an indescribable sense of weirdness to it. Uzumaki. Naruto. Hyuga Hyashi certainly recognized that Naruto was the child of the 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. Different from the grassroots who knew nothing. As the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, he possessed the Byakugan bloodline limit that could observe everything. Hyuga Hyashi knew too many things. Of course, he was prudent and never said anything. After all, the destiny of the Hyuga clan is to protect the Byakugan, not to participate in secular political struggles. And for the ninja leader of the Hidden Cloud Village, the blocking of the road by an extremely immature kid has become a kind of unspeakable horror. Kid, where are my 7 companions? The Hidden Cloud ninja leader, with a stern voice, questioned Naruto with a ferocious expression. When I saw them, all 7 of them fell down. Maybe they had heatstroke. Naruto gently said, a cold joke that no one could laugh at. It is December 27th, in the middle of winter. Where would a normal person get heatstroke? This is not the Hidden Sand Village. Lightning release. The ninja leader, whose face became more and more ferocious, realized the death of his companions, and immediately used a killing move on Naruto. It is common sense for most ninjutsu to use hand seals, and to use both hands to seal. But there are also a small number of ninjutsu that only need to be sealed with one hand. You don't even need to make a seal, commonly known as the no-seal ninjutsu. Crack! The lightning chakra shot out, illuminating the night sky, and attacked Naruto like a spear. Be careful! Before Hyuga Hyashi could exclaim, the lightning struck the former. Naruto fell backwards from the wall, and his figure immediately disappeared on the other side of the wall. Plop! When his body fell heavily to the ground, a triumphant smile appeared on his opponent's face. However, the next second, an orange-red figure jumped up and stood on the tall wall again. Naruto, whose body was covered with a tailed beast coat, slowly spoke in the shocked eyes of Hyuga Hyashi, Hyuga Hinata, and the head of the Kumogakure ninja. Is it my turn? The orange-red chakra coat seemed to cover Naruto's body. A tail formed entirely by the power of the tailed beast swayed behind him. Naruto, wearing the tailed beast coat, has an indescribable ferocity on his young face. Although Naruto is still just a child at this time. However, when the ninja leader of the Hidden Cloud Village saw this scene, he still couldn't help sweating on his forehead. Human, Jinchuriki. The Hidden Cloud Village has 2-tailed beasts, the 2-tailed and the 8-tailed. This also means that their village also has a Jinchuriki as a container. Whether it is the 8 tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee or the 2 tails Jinchuriki Yukido. The Jinchuriki of the past and the present have shown the power and terror of the tailed beasts in different ways. The moment he recognized Naruto's identity, the confused thoughts in his mind surged like the sea. The impression left by Killer Bee and Yukido on the ninjas of Kumogakure was too deep. So much so that this power was inferred to Naruto. However, when he saw that there was only one tail behind Naruto, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief and smiled calmly. It's just one tail. Generally speaking, the strength of a Jinchuriki is determined by the number of explosive tails. The 9 tails has 9 tails. The kid in front of him can only control one. There is nothing to be afraid of, he told himself. After all, during the war, he was a ninja leader who could command thousands of ninjas. Climbing up all the way, his own ability is also extraordinary. It's just a tail. As long as he is careful, it's no problem to get rid of the 9 tails Jinchuriki. That's the chakra of the 9 tails. Hinata Hiyashi, who was standing by, also recognized the essence represented by the tailed beast coat. Although he had not seen the 9 tails Jinchuriki of the past generations go berserk. But the 9 tails rebellion that year, the 9 tails true form that wreaked havoc on the village, was still very impressive and fresh in his memory. As Naruto opened his posture, Hinata Hiyashi knew that he was going to attack. Naruto-kun. Hinata, who was held under the armpit by the ninja leader of the Hidden Cloud Village, tried to look up. What she saw in her blurred vision was the equally blurred projection of Naruto's tailed beast code mode. The pale moonlight shone on the orange glowing body, making Naruto look like a demon crawling out of hell. The cruelty of the tailed beast power is best known by the ninjas of the Hidden Cloud Village. This is also the reason why the ninja leader did not use Hinata as a hostage to threaten. The battle is about to start. Swish. Naruto jumped up and rushed straight to the opponent. There are no fancy techniques, just attack in a straight line. The swift figure is like a shrunken beast. Wherever he passed, dust visible to the naked eye flew up on the street. These dusts formed a channel, which was a wave raised by extremely fast speed and huge force. Snap, snap, countless dense cracks suddenly appeared on the hard bluestone ground. The so-called, light as a feather, heavy as a mountain. Thunder escape. The leader of the cloud-hidden ninja quickly formed seals with both hands. In the observation of the Byakugan of Hyuga Hiyashi, the opponent reached a speed of 5 seals per second. This is the extreme that ordinary ninjas can reach. It is enough to show the solidity of the opponent's basic skills. And the Byakugan not only has the observation ability like a high-power camera. It also has the ability of perspective. The opponent's meridians all over his body were instantly activated, and a large amount of energy was squeezed out from the flesh, mixed with spiritual power, forming a huge chakra. Then, a chakra ball-like ball lightning appeared from the air and flew towards Naruto, who was rushing over. Under the night, the intruder creature was subjected to a violent chakra reaction and murderous intent, a cat. It lost its sense of direction and fell into a state of running around like a headless fly because it sensed the danger nearby. The cat passed by the arena where the 2 men were fighting, and then crashed into the flying lightning ninjutsu. Crack, the body trembled, and the limbs stretched out. Before it could scream, it turned into a mass of burnt, broken flesh and broken bones, like exploding fireworks, scattered in the night sky. The ball lightning continued to fly. Hyuga Hiyashi estimated that the level of this technique was at least B level, or even higher. Crack, the dirt and debris in the air broke into powder. It was like a cannonball, hitting Naruto with a bang. Quote. Hyuga Hiyashi clearly saw that Naruto's whole body trembled. The orange transparent tailed beast chakra seemed to flow like water waves in an instant. In a hot blue-white lightning light, Naruto flew backwards. He crashed into the wall on the left. Boom boom. The walls shattered and collapsed, smoke and dust rose everywhere. Everywhere he passed, there was a mess. Hee. The ninja leader of Kumogakure showed a grim smile, his proud skill achieved excellent results. In the dust, the orange light on Naruto seemed to dim a lot. But in just a moment, it lit up again. And the light was very bright. Hinata Hiyashi looked solemn, and his eyes looked through the smoke, too. I saw that Naruto, who got up, had another tail behind him. When most of the smoke and dust had dissipated, Naruto used all 4 limbs, and his hideous figure lying on the ground appeared in front of the 3 people. Ninja leader. 2. 2 tails. Unlike the ninja leader who was frightened, Hinata Hiyashi's expression became more and more solemn. At this moment, he began to worry about what to do if Naruto went berserk. At this point, the situation was completely reversed. Hinata, close your eyes. Naruto's suppressed low voice sounded, and this gesture made Hyuga Hiyashi slightly dispel the worries in his heart. It's dark, please close your eyes. Naruto-kun. Hinata closed her eyes very obediently. Wait. The head of the Kumogakur ninja, who was sweating all over, was shocked. However, before he could finish what he wanted to say, Naruto used his hands and feet and rushed over directly. Swish. He clawed out the heart. He rushed into the other's arms and gave the other a chill. The shattered heart came out from the pierced back, and countless blood foam and meat pieces splashed diagonally into the sky. Naruto, who succeeded in one strike, hugged Hinata, returned easily and landed. Quote. The head of the Kumogakur ninja looked down at his empty chest that was bleeding. Then he raised his eyes. Before he died, what he saw was a pair of scarlet vertical pupils emitting a pinpoint red light. Plop! The swaying body collapsed to the ground and turned into a cold corpse. The scattered internal organs fell to the ground, splashing a fan-shaped scattered pattern. Blood gushed out from under the corpse. The scene was extremely bloody for a while. Hyuga Hiyashi frowned and quickly stepped forward to uncover the other party's nightgown. When he saw the forehead protector worn on the other party's forehead and the facial features of the one-eyed dragon, his expression changed drastically. The murderer turned out to be Hyuga Hiyashi, who was frightened and sweating, stood there in a daze, motionless. Only then did he understand why the son of the 4th generation did not let him do it. Naruto. Hinata, it's okay. On the other side. Getting the hint, Hinata's eyelids moved slightly, and she slowly opened her eyes and found herself being held by Naruto. Hinata, happy birthday. After thinking for a while, Naruto added. Quote. Hinata's face instantly turned red. Then, she hummed hard, and the suppressed fear and other emotions burst out at this time and turned into tears. Holding Naruto tightly, burying her head deeply in Naruto's arms. At this moment, Hinata had only one thought. Naruto-kun's arms, so warm. Soon, footsteps and shouts sounded, and the members of the Hyuga clan came late. Unlike the members of the clan who were extremely concerned about the safety of the eldest daughter of the clan, Hyuga Hiyashi's face was as if he had eaten shit. The Kumogakur diplomat who came to negotiate peace died in the Hyuga clan's residence. What will happen next? He only knew that things were in big trouble. Hyuga Hiyashi. Naruto-kun, please come this way. 15 minutes after the incident, Hyuga Hiyashi returned to the Hyuga mansion with his daughter, surrounded by the clan members. Naruto also came with him. At this time, it was already 9:30 in the evening. The whole Konoha was under curfew. Except for special departments such as the Uchiha Police Department, almost all Konoha residents had fallen asleep. In the crowd, looking at the clan leader who personally led Naruto in, Hyuga Shaw was stunned for a moment. The clan leader's face was as solemn as usual, but there was a hint of respect in his attitude. This respectful attitude was directed at Naruto. This move directly caused a huge wave in Hyuga Shaw's heart. She couldn't help but start to think about the cause and effect of the matter. It is worth mentioning that, even if the Hyuga clan has a convenient blood inheritance limit such as the Byakugan, it cannot be piqued and used at will. After all, if he knew too many things that he shouldn't know, the Hyuga clan would be in huge trouble, and might even be in danger of annihilation. Therefore, subconsciously, most members of the Hyuga clan will try not to abuse the Byakugan as much as possible. When you are practicing soft boxing and need to open it up, you will never look at angles and directions that you shouldn't look at. Therefore, many members of the Hyuga clan, including Hyuga Natsu, do not know the full extent of tonight's emergency. Only a few understood what a feat Naruto had just accomplished. At this time, the blood stains on Naruto's face had been wiped away. The existence of the tailed beast clothes meant that there was almost no stain on Naruto's clothes. Under Hinata Natsu's surprised gaze and uncertain mood, Naruto followed Hinata Hazashi to the special room for entertaining guests. Asha, you will take care of Naruto-kun and Hinata from now on. Whatever needs Naruto-kun has, you must satisfy them as much as possible, and you cannot neglect our distinguished guests. Hinata Shaw. Yes. Saying these words with an absolute command tone, Hinata Hazashi left with the other clan members. Of course, he still ordered 2 tribesmen with higher martial arts values to guard the room a little further away. Hinata bent over and lowered his head. It wasn't until Hinata Hazu and others disappeared around the corner of the wooden corridor that she raised her head slightly. Naruto-kun, you must be hungry. Hinata, who was standing with Naruto, had a gentle smile on her face and a faint blush. Tonight's incident made her feel like she had spent a birthday she would never forget. Entering the room with Naruto, Hinata immediately looked at Hinata. Asha, please prepare some food for Naruto-kun, well, it must be rich. Finally, Hinata added another sentence. Looking at the eldest lady of the Zong family who was smiling endlessly, and Naruto with a naive expression with his eyes narrowed to a slit. Hinata Shaw, who was shocked in her heart, had no choice but to do so. When the confused maid of the branch family left, Naruto casually sat cross-legged on the tatami. Hinata, who was sitting across from the low table, could only see Naruto's figure at this moment, and could no longer accommodate anything else. Just thinking about it for a moment, being saved by a hero or something, Hinata felt happy overflowing. These days, the anxiety in my heart due to worries about the relationship between the Uchiha girl of the same age and Naruto has completely disappeared with being saved by Naruto. This place is quite nice. As Naruto spoke, he tilted to the side. Finally, he supported his head with one hand and lay on his side on the tatami. When Hinata Shaw walked in with the food, she saw this scene. Normally, she would of course scold him immediately, first condemning the demon fox for appearing here, then giving a soft fist warning, and then reporting to the patriarch. However, the negative thoughts in my heart can only be hidden in my heart due to changes in time. He walked into the room carrying the plate and placed it gently on the table. Naruto, who was lying on his side by the table, randomly picked up a piece of snack and ate it directly. While eating, you are also smacking your lips. It is as rude as you want. At this time, Naruto's rise to power was in stark contrast to the separation maid's ability to hold back her negative emotions. Hinata Natsu, who had to swallow his anger, now looked like a clown. Of course, Hinata wouldn't think of this level. In her eyes, beauty is only in the eye of the beholder at this moment. Even though Naruto's lying and eating postures closely resembled the traditional definition of a lazy man, in her eyes, Naruto had become the most handsome guy. Only Naruto knows, Hinata Natsu knows, and one Kyuubi knows. The difference between the past interaction between the two and the current situation has become the best way to torture. For Hinata Shaw, every minute and every second staying here is absolute torture. The situation turned around 360 degrees, leaving her completely confused and her head exploding like paste. But she can only be kept reserved and play her role as a maid. It's delicious. The next second, Naruto wiped his mouth, sat up and reached for other food. There is no need for chopsticks or knives and forks, and all the food is made into grabbing style, which challenges Hinata Shaw's mood even more. As an ancient and rigid clan, the rules and education that every member of the Hyuga clan has received since childhood can be said to be extremely conservative. Hinata Shaw's forehead began to twitch, but she could only suppress her anger, lowered her eyebrows and lowered her eyes to prevent herself from seeing the abominable scene happening in front of her. I have never eaten anything so delicious. Naruto had a naive look on his face and expressed his thoughts about eating with the Hyuga clan. That's great. Hinata grinned like a fool. This female cub. Kyuubi held the side of his head with one paw, and now he was paralyzed like Naruto behind the cage. Sighing that Naruto would eat the opponent to death in just a few seconds, Kyuubi could only shout for konoha pills. Under the agitation of the demon Uzumaki Naruto, Konoha still doesn't know what it will become in the future. Although Kyuubi originally wanted to have fun, be a fun person, and try to find ways to get out of trouble, but things have developed to this point, it feels that, when Uzumaki Naruto grows up, the ninja world may be doomed. The so-called drunkard's intention is not to drink. Kyuubi could also tell that Naruto was deliberately irritating this white-eyed separation made human. Comparing the past, how do you feel about the passage of time? By the way, won't uncle and aunt be worried if Naruto-kun doesn't come home so late? Hinata turned slightly and looked at the clock on the wall. It was past 10 o'clock in the blink of an eye. Son Naruto, jumped out of the cracks in the rocks. Naruto swept up the food in 3 or 2 strokes, then touched his stomach and told his origin. Hinata was slightly stunned after hearing this, and it took her a few seconds to understand what Naruto meant. She can actually understand. She really is a love brain. Kyuubi began to complain. For human beings, the thought of love makes people vomit. Kyuubi felt that he would be so evil that he would not be able to sleep tonight. Sorry, Naruto-kun. Hinata almost burst into tears when she heard that Naruto had no father or mother. Naruto-kun, so pitiful. But how strong he is. Kyuubi. Bewitch the little girl. After eating, it's time to take a shower. There's a lot of dust on my body. Naruto patted the rice scraps on his body and spread them all over the floor. Then, he motioned to Hinata to take him to the bathhouse to take a shower. Yes, Hinata Natsu, who was holding back her nausea, anger, hatred, and other emotions, stood up tremblingly and began to stagger when walking. Just when Naruto was enjoying himself, a life and death discussion was taking place in the clan meeting room belonging to the clan where the Hyuga clan was stationed. Tonight's emergency incident has just been reported to the tribe. I am afraid that in less than half an hour, the Hyuga clan will receive the results of the order from the top. Before that future comes, the clan needs to make complete responses and preparations. The old man in the upper seat is the elder of the Hyuga clan. He belongs to the same clan family and is also the elder of Hinata Rizu. Everyone looked solemnly and looked at the elderly man with respect, waiting for his answer. Whenever something big happens in a clan, it is absolutely wrong to look for respected elders to make decisions. Since it has happened, we must admit it. After the clan elders learned the whole story, they thought about it and came to a conclusion. When the higher-ups ask us, we will say that it was me, the Hyuga clan, who shot the other party. All 8 Kumogakur ninjas were killed, which was no small matter. Hyuga Hiyashi was excited at the first moment, and immediately retorted, Elder. It was obviously the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki who did it, I mean. Why should we take all the responsibility? Hyuga Hiyashi was naturally very grateful for Naruto's help. But the matter is ultimately related to the Hyuga clan. After all, the other party intends to kidnap Hinata and obtain the Hyuga bloodline limit. It is absolutely impossible to distance themselves from the matter. Because the child of Uzumaki Naruto is the son of the 4th Hokage. The elder's words silenced all the clan members, including Hiyashi. The 4th Hokage, Golden Flash Namikaze Minato. His status and achievements are top-notch in Konoha. He sacrificed himself to protect the village couple, and finally sealed the 9 tails in his child's body. No one does not admire this kind of awareness and merit. In other words, no matter what, the Konoha high-level officials will keep Uzumaki Naruto. The Hyuga clan wants to share the responsibility, which will only give the Konoha high-level officials an excuse, and the Hyuga will suffer in the end. So, this pot, Hinata has to take it alone no matter what. Whether it is or not, it is. I understand, Elder. Hinata Hiyashi's expression dimmed a little. If the top leaders want to take action against Hyuga, then the current opportunity is the most suitable. No matter what, the Hyuga clan can only show their loyalty. Soon after, Naruto-kun, we are here. Hinata stopped on the spot, and her voice trembled. It can be seen that she is forcibly suppressing her true thoughts. Fortunately, Naruto did not intend to expose her and embarrass her. At least for the time being. There is no plan tonight. The unpleasantness of the past seemed to have never happened. Naruto looked at the interior of the lighted bathroom and couldn't help but sighed. Rich families are different. They all have special large bathrooms. Walked in casually and began to look around. I'll go get some hot water. Naruto-kun, please wait a moment. Hinata took quick steps, and her tone became a little more normal. Since Naruto didn't mention it, she certainly wouldn't make things difficult for herself. She just wanted to finish everything right away, and then get away from Naruto. When she reached the end and started to put water into the tub, Naruto also made some rustling movements. Wow! The water flowed, and the steam rose. When Hinata-sha turned around and was about to ask Naruto if he had any additional requests, the scene she saw in front of her made the pretty maid of the branch family freeze in place. Under the dim light, Naruto's shadow was projected on the wall. Also, there was the awakened monster. The jumping monster shadow was so hideous and terrifying. It was larger than any monster Hinata-sha knew. It was an absolute nightmare. Without thinking about what the maid of the branch family who was shocked on the spot was thinking at this moment, Naruto just walked slowly and walked past her with an extremely arrogant posture. Finally, entered the bathtub and began to take a comfortable hot bath. Late at night, Konoha was silent. While most of the villagers fell into a deep sleep, the 8 corpses placed at the entrance of the Hyuga clan's residence plunged the village into a whirlpool of public opinion. The Konoha high-level officials who rushed to the scene stared at the 8 corpses covered with white cloth. They had a fierce dispute with the 4 Kumogakur officials who also rushed to the scene. Finally, the 4 officials said that they would report the matter to Lord Raikage immediately, and let Konoha wait for the wrath of the Land of Lightning. Looking at the back that left in a hurry, the faces of the 4 high-ranking officials of Konoha turned ugly. The sudden incident late at night was unexpected by everyone. Who would have thought that the Kumogakur diplomatic mission that came to negotiate peace would be so bold as to directly rob people? But even if they regretted it now, it would not have any effect. The important thing is, what will happen next? Based on their understanding of Kumogakur, this bandit-like village will definitely turn the tables and take this opportunity to expand the conflict. It is even possible to use this as an excuse to start a war from a moral high ground. The Hyuga clan is certainly acting in legitimate defense. But there is no reason or law between countries. All disputes will eventually turn into violent confrontations. The most urgent task is to protect the safety of Konoha and even the Land of Fire. Kakashi. Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately looked at his subordinates beside him. Hokage-sama. Kakashi led the team forward. Tenzo, Yamato, Azuki Yugao, Jong, and other subordinates of Team 6 all stood and waited. As Sarutobi Hiruzen issued orders one by one, Kakashi, who received the transfer order, quickly disbanded the team, and the team members rushed to all parts of the village. Konoha in the middle of the night was about to be awakened. The next morning, the sun slowly rose. The incident last night continued to ferment. After a whole night of discussion and diplomatic response, the 4 senior executives finally activated the expensive long-distance communication device to connect with the 4th-generation Raikage I thousands of miles away. I learned that his subordinates were wiped out. Rongyun was furious, and immediately turned the tables, saying, Konoha's ninjas deliberately destroyed the hard-won peace. They were the sinners who wanted to start a war. After making harsh words, warning Konoha and asking Konoha to wait for the arrival of the war, I cut off the contact without giving Konoha any chance to refute. Knowing that the situation was irreversible, Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally wanted to continue to reason. But he also understood that if he left it alone, the Land of Fire would be invaded by Kumogakur. So, after discussion, the top leaders sent more people to the border again, preparing to use the Uchiha base as a base to resist the upcoming war conflict. In the early morning of Konoha, there was a sudden commotion. The people found that a large number of their own ninjas were running in the streets and alleys of the village. Looking at their anxious posture, it seemed that something big was going to happen. Just like migratory birds migrating in groups, such a large-scale action could not help but make the villagers worried. The Uchiha clan's residents, Itachi, who had just returned from morning exercise, stopped and looked at the clan members who hurriedly passed by. Itachi blinked curiously, and doubts arose in his heart. What happened? If something happened in the village, as a formal ninja, I should have been notified. It is also possible that something more serious happened, and I am not qualified to know as a genin. While Itachi was thinking, a figure jumped over. Shisui. Itachi. Something big happened. As Itachi's friend and also Itachi's master in the way of ninja training, he had a very close relationship with Itachi, so he quickly told him what happened last night. Shisui. It's only been a few years since the end of the Third Ninja World War, and not long after the Nine Tails Rebellion. The heavy tone of his best friend echoed in Itachi's ears. The village can't stand another war. Itachi felt the same way with his worried thoughts. After analyzing the pros and cons of the matter, Shisui patted Itachi on the shoulder. Itachi, I'm going to the front line. You who stay in the village, you must take good care of everyone. Quote. This is not aimless. Konoha is not only facing external troubles now, but also internal troubles. And the biggest internal trouble is the Uchiha clan. After Shisui left, Itachi was about to take a step, but the arrival of Uchiha Izumi made him stop again. Itachi, everyone looks very anxious, do you know what happened? Izumi asked, holding Itachi's arm. For such an intimate move, Itachi subconsciously wanted to avoid it. But for some reason, his body did not move. On the contrary, the thought of, this is not bad, arose in his heart. Looking at the anxious girl of the same age, Itachi calmly replied, don't worry, it's okay, it may be a call for an exercise. Oh, the simple-minded Izumi nodded, and most of the doubts in her heart disappeared. Because she saw Itachi, who was also a ninja, didn't look anxious at all, which probably meant that nothing happened. Would you like to walk together? Izumi suddenly suggested. The attitude also became a little strange. That slightly awkward look made Itachi confused. I'm just going home for breakfast, Itachi said sullenly. Because he had nothing else to do. Every morning he practiced, ate, gathered to perform genin missions, disbanded, practiced, ate, and slept. He practiced with Shisui every now and then. It was like this almost every day. His only hope was to participate in the Chunin exam. But for several consecutive years, he was rejected by his mentor, the Jonin. At first, Itachi felt that he was not doing well enough. Later, he found out that it might be due to the prejudice of the instructor against Uchiha. Thinking of Shisui, who had become famous in the ninja world and rushed to the front line. But he could only stay in the village. Itachi felt a sense of anxiety. Izumi, Itachi, Itachi. Izumi, who was walking with him, reminded him several times before Itachi got out of his thoughts. Sorry, I was thinking about something. Silence. The two stopped talking and walked back slowly. Itachi, do you feel that the tribesmen are a little scary recently? Izumi suddenly talked about another thing. This made Itachi alert. Do you know what happened? Quote. Izumi shook her head, and said that this was her intuition. Of course, it could also be an illusion. In fact, Itachi knew. Izumi, who opened the Sharingan as early as the Nine Tails Rebellion, obtained the true power of Uchiha. It is normal to have a keen sixth sense. I am scared. Izumi's eyes wandered, revealing a little uneasiness. The adults of the Uchiha clan, are they thinking of something bad, or planning something? Itachi. Countless images instantly appeared in Itachi's mind. After the Nine Tails Rebellion, Yashura, Anahime, and Tiehuo came to visit their father and complained about the injustice of the village. There were other clansmen who were also dissatisfied with the village, believing that the village was oppressing the Uchiha clan. In the end, the Uchiha clan held a secret meeting every month, and the clansmen vented their fanatical emotions under the shrine. Izumi. Itachi suddenly stopped. You'd better not tell other people about these things, including the clansmen, and your mother too. Izumi. Well, since Itachi said so, I'll do it. Watching Izumi leave, Itachi stopped at the door of his house and was silent for a moment before opening the door and entering the yard. Brother, you're back. The sister smiled, but pouted the next second. HMPH. You didn't call me for morning exercise. Itachi. That's because you sleep too much, Seiko. No, anyway, I must get up early tomorrow. Seiko gritted her teeth and said firmly. Looking at his lovely sister, Itachi decided from the bottom of his heart that he must protect everything. At least, protect his sister. At the same time, at the Hyuga clan's residence, Naruto stretched and got up slowly. Naruto-kun, your clothes have been dried, I put them at the door. The sun shines on the quaint Japanese paper sliding door. The kneeling figure of the maid of the branch family casts a shadow. Naruto stands in the middle of the room, expressionless. The next second, Naruto stopped the maid who was about to leave. Can you send it in? It would be bad if I catch a cold. Quote. The figure of the maid of the branch family paused slightly. Without seeing it directly, Naruto knew that the other person's cheek must be twitching again at this moment. Wow! The paper sliding door opened. Hinata Natsu's figure appeared. She was getting up from the wooden floor of the corridor with dry clothes in her hands. The moment his white eyes swept across the room, the sound of fibers falling to the floor was heard. Now, when the sun rises, everything flourishes. Hinata Shaw was stunned on the spot. It wasn't until Naruto walked up to her that she woke up from a dream. Looking at the pretty maid fleeing in panic, Naruto's eyes lingered on the back of her maid uniform. What follows is that the awakened monster becomes even more energetic. Soon after changing his clothes, Naruto came to the living room where he had been staying last night. The first figure to appear was Hinata. She looked very happy. Immediately afterwards, a beautiful woman who was pregnant and looked like an enlarged version of Hinata plus Hanabi complex came with dignified steps. "It's Hinata's mother," Naruto murmured, his eyes twinkling. "The weather is nice today, the birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant outside." In the traditional Japanese garden of the Hyuga clan, bamboo tubes are tilted to allow water to pass through. Hinata Shaw, who followed Hinata Hazuki, had other things on her mind. The clan leader's polite attitude towards the demon fox, Uzumaki Naruto, was seen by everyone. It's not like she didn't ask other tribesmen what happened. But except for the uninformed tribesmen, those who are obviously aware of it all keep it secret and say, "You will naturally know when the time comes." This made Hinata Shaw even more convinced that there was indeed something that connected the demon fox boy to Hinata. Last night to this morning, Hinata served Uzumaki Naruto with delicious food and drinks, obviously treating him as a distinguished guest. Now, even Madam has to meet the latter in person. This made Hinata Shaw's suspicion grow even more. Along with it, there are worries and fears that are difficult to let go of. Because if the demon fox boy really becomes a guest of the Hyuga clan, the things and attitudes she has done in the past will become negative evidence to confirm the truth. This is Naruto, who pretended to know nothing, raised his head and looked at the beautiful woman who walked to the door. Hinata Hazuki, who has already given birth to a daughter, does not look old at all. After all, humans in this world get married early, and they have the wonderful energy and blood of chakra to strengthen their bodies. Hinata's mother has a pair of charming almond eyes, which reveal the same tenderness and innocence as Hinata. No matter how you look at her tall nose and red and soft lips, she is full of warmth like Yamato Nadeshiko. Because she was pregnant, Hinata Hazuki wore a looser robe. This failed to hide her plump figure. The difference from Sako's mother, Uchiha Makoto, is Hinata's mother obviously lacked a little exercise. It may sound unbelievable, but considering that in the original work, you can understand that the other party is not in good health. In the past, Hinata Hazu would definitely not be willing to go to war with his beloved wife, and would practice soft boxing and other things every day. And therefore, Hinata Hazuki, who had accumulated a little fat, was more plump than Uchiha Makoto. In addition, there are servants to serve you, so you can go in and out easily. Her fair and tender skin can be seen to be very well maintained. Of course, it could also be natural beauty. After all, you can understand this by looking at the inheritance of her two daughters, Hinata and Hanabi. Naruto-kun, this is my mother. Hinata stood respectfully aside and introduced her mother to Naruto. It can be seen that it is different from the reserved attitude when facing his father. Hinata wasn't that afraid of her mother. This also proves that her gentleness is indeed inherited from the latter. Naruto-kun, hello, I am Hinata Hazuki, you can just call me Aunt Hazuki. Hinata Hazuki slowly entered the room, and with the support of Hinata Shaw, he slowly sat down. During this process, she stared at Naruto intently, seeming to be sizing him up. Hello, Aunt Yuyu. Naruto came over and took seats one after another with Hinata. Across the low table, the three of them looked at each other. Hinata Natsu fulfilled her duties as a maid and started making tea for the three of them. As Naruto's eyes swept over Hinata Hazuki's white neck, Kyuubi seemed to notice something. But it still overestimates the upper limit of human beings. Looking down at the slightly open and closed collar, Naruto immediately understood the origin of Hinata's weapon and Hanabi's weapon in the original work. Hinata Hazuki, who had an extremely gentle expression, didn't notice. Naruto's eyes flashed as he narrowed his eyes. In her first impression, who had the same simple personality, the young man who had saved her daughter had a very honest appearance and was probably someone worthy of her trust. The similarities between mother and daughter lead to Hinata Hazuki's thinking structure being similar to that of her daughter. They were so well protected and so naturally kind that their mother and daughter did not know the real dangers in the world. Hinata Hazuki wanted to come and see Naruto personally, not because of her husband's request. At this time, she was extremely satisfied with the review of her future son-in-law. Keep promises, insist on staying for a day without eating, save the beauty. All these elements meet Hyuga Yuzuki's requirements for her daughter's future husband. This female human with big breasts and no brains. Kyubi lay behind the sealed iron door and gave an accurate evaluation. The daughter is a love-brained person, and the mother's head is empty. Kyubi, don't talk nonsense. Aunt Yuzuki is kind-hearted, not like you at all, always using a mean heart to guess others, and being dignified by evil deeds. Sneer at kindness. Naruto patiently criticized Kyubi gently. Kyubi. Unlike Hyuga Shah, who didn't know Naruto's true identity, Hyuga Yuzuki knew very well that Naruto was the son of the fourth Hokage. With this noble status, Hyuga Yuzuki only felt that Hinata was marrying up to Naruto. Of course, if we consider the 1,000-year-long inheritance of the Hyuga clan, it is not a disgrace to Naruto's family background. So, the two children sitting together are really a perfect match. Hinata Yutsuki, who likes her daughter very much, naturally likes Naruto at this time. After a while, Hinata Shah, who went out, came back. She brought a delicious breakfast for Naruto to eat. Looking at the full and rich breakfast, Naruto scratched his head. Aunt Yutsuki, don't you want to eat? Be humble to the elders before eating. Hinata Yutsuki nodded secretly in her heart. Sure enough, Naruto is as gentle as his father, Golden Flash. Single quote. No matter who it is, the evaluation of Namikaze Minato is amazing. Especially Namikaze Minato's gentleness is also a point that everyone admires. What's more, he can defeat so many enemy ninjas at such a young age. This child's future must be limitless. Thinking of this, Hinata Yutsuki, who is already a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law, couldn't help but smile. This smile brought infinite charm. The pure beauty, but with a different kind of temptation. Looking at the beautiful woman who was like a blooming flower, Naruto couldn't help but nod secretly. Hinata's mother is so beautiful, ah. Nine-tailed fox. After that, Naruto gave way to Hinata again. After the latter said that she was not hungry, Naruto began to eat. This time, of course, it was not grabbing with hands. But it was changed to a normal way of eating. The mother and daughter stared at Naruto at the same time, with different thoughts in their hearts, but very similar. In contrast, it was Hyuga Shah who was on pins and needles. Even the wife, seeing Hyuga Yuzuki treat Naruto so gently, the kindness released was almost overflowing. Hyuga Shah couldn't help but feel more uneasy. Because if Uzumaki Naruto really became a distinguished guest of the Hyuga clan, then her fate would be. Time passed. 2 days passed quickly. Because of the sudden incident of the annihilation of the Kumogakure delegation, Konoha and Kumogakure were about to start a war on the border. Naturally, Hyuga Hiyashi was no longer in the mood to teach his daughter the soft fist. While all the adults were busy with war disputes, Naruto had a good time eating and drinking for 2 days in the Hyuga clan. During these 2 days, in addition to eating, drinking and having fun, he naturally strolled around and visited the clan land that had stood for half a century since the Hyuga clan was founded. As one of the smallest clan settlements destroyed during the Nine Tails Rebellion, this place has a very high historical value. Chapter 31. During this period, Naruto saw Hinata Hazuki several times. Seeing that the new year was coming, Hinata Hazuki asked Hinata Natsu to take Naruto to the shopping street to buy new clothes. After all, you can't always wear this orange short-sleeved sportswear, right? By the way, I took Hinata to buy some New Year items. If necessary, she would invite Naruto to stay with the Hyuga clan and celebrate the New Year with all the clan members. Then, Mom, let's go. In private, Hinata calls her mother very affectionately. You can see the maternal love she enjoys. Hinata Hazuki, who was sitting in the room, smiled and nodded, watching the two children being taken away by the maid Hinata Shah. That's great. Gently caress your belly and feel the rhythm of new life. Thinking of a better future. Hinata Hazuki felt that life was gorgeous. Even if you are not in good health and may die after giving birth to a second child, then your life will not be in vain. The commercial streets on New Year's Eve are crowded with people. Most of the people knew nothing about the war. However, the tense atmosphere among the ninjas in the village still affected them a little. Coupled with the arrival of the first batch of travelers from the country of fire, rumors of imminent war on the border spread like wildfire, and the atmosphere of panic spread uncontrollably. On the streets of Konoha, crowds of people hurried. A woman in coarse clothes kept looking at everything around her. She looked about 25 or 6 years old, and her compassionate and holy expression made her look like a saint in mythology. Rough clothes can't stop her natural beauty, and then figure. The dark blonde hair was slightly curled at the ends and spilled out from the hood. Looking at the familiar yet unfamiliar Konoha, she passed by quietly. Naruto-kun, Naruto-kun, Hinata called twice. Only then did Naruto look away from the other party. Move away from your body. Hinata then looked around, but saw nothing. The woman who has long since entered the vast crowd of people is nowhere to be seen. Therefore, she could only speculate on irrelevant possibilities in her mind. Dark underground entrance. Seeing the dark stairs, no Nayu couldn't help but frown slightly. It has been several years since I left the orphanage. In the past few years, she has been collecting information for Konoha and traveling to various countries. The purpose is to be able to know the situation of his adopted son, Kabuto, at all times. Kabuto, who was the first to leave the orphanage and join Konoha a few years ago, has now become an official ninja. He lived a carefree life in Konoha. Watching the adopted son in the photo grow up day by day, Nunoyu would feel relieved in his heart. This proves that her sacrifice was not in vain. But this time, Danzo suddenly summoned her to return to Konoha. This made Nanoyu, who had not been back for several years, feel a little bad. The rhetoric in the communication confirmed her concerns. Just 2 days ago, the Kumogakur delegation visited Konoha, and a series of events occurred, leading to a major war between the two sides. At present, Konoha's troops centered on the Uchiha stronghold, and a confrontation began across the coast with Kumogakur's troops. So, Danzo called him back, most likely because he wanted him to sneak into Kumogakur's side. Nanoyu slowly walked down the stairs, passed through countless winding passages, and finally, in the deepest part of the Konoha underground, which is also the center of the Konoha underground, he met Shimura Danzo. This is the home base of Gen, and the embodiment of Danzo's ambition. He who lives in the deep shadows is known as the Dark Shinobi. It's not a good reputation. In the entire ninja world, Danzo and the routes he led were so notorious. When it comes to mentioning it, almost everyone becomes jealous. However, the interesting thing is, the ninjas of the enemy country are so familiar with the routes, but the people of Konoha know nothing about the routes. Even most of the Konoha grassroots ninjas are completely unaware of the existence of routes. Nanoyu, you are back. Danzo stood there leaning on his cane and turned around, revealing a face with obvious wrinkles. After not seeing each other for several years, the decline in his physical strength was visible to the naked eye. Senescence. The fate that most human beings cannot escape has befallen this hero. But Nanoyu knew. The superb chakra control that Danzo honed in his youth can allow him to live for a long time. And Nunoyu, who left Konoha when she was just a girl, is now in full bloom. She has been taking care of children in an orphanage for a long time, and has a superficial background as a medical ninja, making her whole body filled with the holy light of motherhood. With this temperament, no matter where you go, you will be quickly recognized and loved by others. Do you want me to sneak into Kumogakur? Nanoyu adjusted the big round glasses on the bridge of his nose, not wanting to talk to Danzo too much. Don't worry, Benedict. Danzo tapped his cane on the ground and moved away. Under Nanoyu's gaze, he walked towards a corridor. Nanoyu hesitated for a second and followed. There is another thing, you need to confirm first. Danzo said without looking back. After many twists and turns, Nanoyu had a bad premonition and came to a familiar place again. Morgue. It is also one of Root's laboratories. General. Is also a branch of Anbu. So naturally it also has all the functions of Anbu. This includes the recovery and research of enemy ninjas and even the corpses of our own ninjas. Before he even got close, Nanoyu could smell the disgusting rancid smell inside. It was a magical cave that could not be covered up even if it was soaked in potion. Soon, Danzo opened the door. Several medical ninjas belonging to Gen inside quickly stood aside. Nanoyu looked over and saw 8 corpses covered in white cloth. With Danzo's explanation, she learned all the details of the Kumo mission's destruction that happened 2 days ago. The autopsy report has some issues. Danzo ordered his men to lift the white cloth. 8 corpses with different forms of death were displayed in front of Nanoyu's eyes. Ninjas' bodies are so powerful that they decay much slower than ordinary civilians. Even though they had been dead for 2 days, their faces were still lifelike. Frowning, Nanoyu stepped forward and started to check. Being the leader of the medical team when I was a teenager, and the experience I accumulated from sneaking into enemy countries countless times. Danzo began to describe Nono's talents and achievements. I believe that you, known as the Walking Witch, will be able to accurately determine the true cause of death of these 8 people. Speaking later, Danzo's tone became unquestionable and threatening. No Nayu was silent. In terms of medical ninjutsu, those who are better than her are Princess Tsunade, known as the Sanin, and one of the few hermits in the ninja world. However, there is no need for such exquisite medical ninjutsu, even if you are just a beginner. As long as you have a little understanding of the Hyuga clan's methods of fighting enemies, you can tell that the cause of death of the 8 people was not Hinata's methods at all. Because although the Hyuga clan can also use extremely cruel and violent Guken techniques such as heart-breaking, their moves still have traces to follow. The extremely exquisite chakra control method will make the wounds very artistic, which will amaze everyone who sees it. However, all the wounds on these 8 unlucky guys looked like they had been torn apart by wild beasts. Not to mention the beauty, this is not the harm that humans can cause at all. Then, the answer is ready to come out. Nanoyu suppressed the shock in his heart and looked at Danzo calmly. Danzo, who was also calm, reached into his pocket, took out an envelope, and threw it in front of Nanoyu. Nanoyu opened the letter and almost couldn't hold back the moment he saw the photo. However, she still held back her emotions. Looking at the photos accumulated by his adopted son year by year and the recent changes, Nayu had mixed feelings in his heart. However, she did not notice the cruelty flashing in Danzo's eyes. The person in the photo is Kabuto, but he is not Kabuto. At least not really Kabuto. Her real adopted son, like her, was currently serving Konoha as a spy. The boy in the photo is just a common deception method. After not seeing each other for a long time, he found a boy who looked similar to Kabuto, and then slowly replaced the real Kabuto with this boy's photo. It's like boiling a frog in warm water. Eventually, Nanoyu will completely forget about her real adopted son and think that the fake Kabuto is her real child. This is the final fate of all spies. Used and then discarded. Because they know too much. Especially, Nanoyu is the ace of spies. It is not an exaggeration to say that she is the strongest spy in the ninja world. Putting away the photos, Nanoyu looked at the 8 corpses and immediately came to a firm conclusion. They died from the Jinchuriki's attack. Quote, if it were just a medical ninja, you would know that it was not Hinata's method by just looking for one. But to accurately determine the source of the injury with 100% accuracy, we have to rely on a well-informed person like Nanoyu. Having infiltrated into enemy countries countless times, he naturally came into contact with Jinchuriki many times. Nanoyu knew a lot about the Jinchuriki's expressive power and methods. So, here comes the problem. Within Konoha, the Kumo mission was attacked and destroyed by the Jinchuriki. Who is this Jinchuriki? Nanoyu, who left Konoha before the outbreak of the Third Ninja War, did not know about Naruto. Hee. Danzo grinned, revealing a sinister smile. Where is the 9-tailed demon fox now? Danzo looked at Nanoyu, but he was not talking to her. Back to Danzo-sama, the 9-tailed Jinchuriki is currently staying with the Hyuga clan. The shadows trembled, and the subordinate lurking in the darkness answered Danzo's question. Quote! Nanoyu's element was noticed. The strength of the number 1 spy made her immediately recall her experiences along the way. In the end, she found a vague figure of a yellow-haired child, and the appearance of two Hyuga clan members, one large and one small. This detail was re-examined by her. It seems that you encountered the nine-tailed demon fox on the way here. Danzo could see through Nono's thoughts with just one glance. Its name is Uzumaki Naruto. Danzo took out another document and photographed it in front of Nanoyu. Nanoyu picked it up suspiciously, and when she saw Naruto's true identity recorded on it, her eyes suddenly opened wide. It's actually the fourth-generation Hokage's child. Even if he is in a border town of Fire Country, even if he has been away from Konoha for many years, she still knew the golden shining name. In addition, Konoha's previous Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Kushina, was the boy's mother. The child of a Jinchuriki is still a Jinchuriki. Is this destiny? What do you want me to do? Nanoyu raised his eyes and looked at Danzo. Before she could speak, Danzo started talking to himself. The 8 Kumogakure ninjas were killed by the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. Then why did the Hyuga clan cover up for him? And they also invited the nine-tailed Jinchuriki to the Hyuga clan's residence. The Hyuga clan has made many taboos, but they still go their own way. Aren't they afraid of sanctions from the village? So, the alliance between Kumogakure and Konoha is a national policy. It benefits Konoha at the top and the people at the bottom. I don't understand why this great good thing cannot go forward. There are actually people who are specifically trying to sabotage it. Danzo's smile grew colder. Now I understand, it turns out Hinata is instigating. Maybe Hinata took advantage of Kumogakure and collaborated with Kumogakure to direct this scene. And Naruto Uzumaki was one of the pawns being used. No, Nayu, I don't know if it's an illusion. In the gloomy morgue, a cold wind suddenly blew. Nanoyu didn't know the benefits of the Hyuga clan taking over Kumogakure, but she understood that the Hyuga clan, and Uzumaki Naruto, son of the 4th Hokage, would be in trouble. Once Danzo is targeted, then, anything can become an excuse to threaten others. The drunkard's intention is not to drink. The true meaning is that Danzo probably wants to take the opportunity to defeat and control Hinata, or even, control the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. After all, there has never been a ninja from the Hyuga clan among the Gen people. This is because the design of the caged bird of the Hyuga clan eliminates the possibility of their clan members being exploited. The clan family controls the curse seal for one day. If a family is divided, they will not be able to be loyal to anyone else. The Byakugan is an extremely powerful strategic weapon, and Danzo cannot leave it unused forever. Do you want me to contact Hinata? Nanoyu asked. I will resolve Hinata's matter personally. Danzo shook his head, and in his slow tone, the cruelty of Shinobi's darkness was clearly visible. Immediately, he will contact Hiruzen, Kaharu, and En, and then the 4 of them will go to the Hyuga clan's station to attack the latter. Nanoyu, please prepare yourself. You will settle down in Konoha during this period and try to find a way to get in touch with the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. Take care of Hinata first. Take care of the nine-tailed demon fox again. Finally, it's to deal with the Uchiha, the busiest commercial street in Konoha. The approaching New Year diluted the tension caused by the conflict between Kumogakure and Konoha. People are making purchases in a big way, as if they want to use this method to buffer their anxiety. Zouzi, this way. Makoto was also walking on this street. I took my daughter out early in the morning and have been shopping for a long time now. The mother and daughter were carrying large and small bags in their hands. Makoto's beautiful face was not stained with the anxiety of passers-by. The reason is simple. Her husband, Uchiha Fugaku, who is the chief of the police force and also the leader of the clan, has not received an order to rush to the front line for the time being. In other words, the situation at the border is not serious enough to cause a real fight. At least compared to the Ninja World War, this is nothing. This also means that her husband will be able to spend a peaceful New Year at home. Seiko, are you worried about something? Makoto looked at her daughter who seemed to be worried. Along the way, Seiko seemed to be thinking about something. At first, Makoto thought her daughter wanted to buy something big. But now she thought that maybe her daughter really had some worries. Last time, that guy Uzumaki Naruto said that his house was in the commercial street. Seiko heard her mother's question and immediately began to look around. The bustling commercial street was crowded with people. Above and behind the shops on both sides of the street were buildings where residents lived. It can be said that this is the most prosperous and expensive residential area. Abbreviation: Konoha Center. However, Seiko was quite skeptical of Naruto's statement. After all, the area here is really unaffordable if the family does not have some property. And judging from the attitude of passers-by towards Uzumaki Naruto, his family does not seem to be rich. Actually, I'm not curious. The arrogant Seiko noticed her attitude and immediately added another sentence. However, this sentence can only emphasize her attitude towards Naruto to a deeper degree. Quote. Makoto looked at her daughter and was speechless for a while. Seeing her daughter's evasive expression, Makoto could only sigh at the wonder of fate. Seiko and Naruto. She and Kushina. Back then, she and Kushina were good friends. Kushina even joked at that time. She said, if she gave birth to a boy, the two sides could become in-laws. Kushina's carefree personality must not contain any deep thinking, just pure words spoken straight out of her heart. As her good friend and bestie, Makoto did not oppose Kushina's proposal. Because the situation of the Uchiha clan has been very delicate since the village was built. With the departure of Uchiha Madara from the village, and the subsequent war with the first-generation Hokage Senju Hashirama, the status of the Uchiha clan immediately fell to the bottom. The situation also became embarrassing. The oppression from the upper class continued. Just because they were Uchiha, they suffered all kinds of criticism. Until the generation came to the golden flash, that is, when Kushina's lover Namikaze Minato became the fourth-generation Hokage, things took a turn for the better. If the offspring of the fourth-generation Hokage, and the offspring of the Uchiha clan were married, then it would definitely solve the long-term troubles of the Uchiha clan. Makoto also hoped so, hoping that everything would develop according to Kushina's wishes. When Naruto and Seiko grow up, the two children get married. However, this matter completely fell apart with the occurrence of the Kyuubi rebellion. After that, the Uchiha clan suffered more criticism, and Makoto had no energy to think about it. As time went by, her thoughts completely faded away. But now, because of fate, Seiko and Naruto got to know each other. Hope has resurfaced, and the Uchiha clan, will they seize this re-emerging hope? Makoto's mind instantly flashed to her husband's attitude after knowing that the two children had met. Obviously, Fugaku hopes that Seiko and Naruto will continue to contact each other. As long as the top management of Konoha doesn't object, then, he, a father, will not stop his daughter from getting along with Naruto. Makoto, who focused on her husband in everything, calmed down and made the decision to live together as a married woman. Seiko, are you talking about Uzumaki Naruto? Makoto's gentle eyes met her daughter's eyes, and Seiko suddenly made a sound of surprise. Why does mom know about Uzumaki Naruto? Did my brother tell mom? Seiko remembered that she had only told her brother Naruto's name. Over there, Makoto did not explain, but stretched out her finger with a smile and pointed to the end of the commercial street. Naruto's home was right there with a medium-sized sun terrace. Uzumaki Naruto actually lives in a house in the most prosperous area. Zuozi was immediately shocked. Looking at that guy's stupid look, it turns out he's hiding something deep. Do you want to visit him? You can't go empty-handed. You have to bring a gift. Makoto spoke again. There is a lot of inducement in the words. Well, I'll go right away. Zuozi nodded excitedly, took a souvenir from her mother, and immediately ran towards the end of the commercial street. Mom, wait for me for a moment. Watching her daughter's leaving figure, Makoto was filled with emotion. When Seiko and Naruto met, was it because of the blessing of Kushina's spirit in heaven? Carrying the items purchased for the new year, Mikan stopped where she was. In fact, this scene in a sea of people, a seemingly inconspicuous mother-daughter interaction, was completely captured by a pair of eyes. At this time, it was on the street opposite Makoto. Two girls, Hinata Natsu and Hinata, were attracted by a shiny pavilion. The two girls couldn't move anymore when they looked at Lin Liang's dazzling jewelry. As they carefully selected, time passed quickly. Naruto, who was completely uninterested in these gadgets, naturally looked around and discovered the mother and daughter Makoto and Seiko. Unfortunately, Zuozi had to make a fuss because he was not at home. But Sako's mother can actually meet him. Then, Naruto took decisive steps and walked towards the other side of the road. When Naruto passed through the crowded crowd, the two girls also noticed Naruto's actions. What the two of them saw was Naruto planning to help Makoto. "Auntie, have you encountered something and need my help? It is normal to stand still while carrying too many things, and be reminded that you may encounter difficulties." However, Makoto is not a helpless commoner. Before retiring to become a housewife, she was a Junin of the Uchiha clan. Carrying something is no problem at all. What surprised Makoto was that the person in front of her who asked if she needed help was actually Kushina's child, Uzumaki Naruto. Makoto subconsciously raised her head and looked towards the end of the commercial street. The daughter's figure has long since disappeared into the vast sea of people. In other words, Uzumaki Naruto also went out for shopping today. What a kind-hearted child. Makoto looked away and began to look at Naruto. Naruto's act of asking her if she wanted to help gave her the first impression of Naruto. As for what this kid looks like, the face is like his mother's, the hair color is like his father. Naruto, on his side, was also looking at Makoto while waiting for a reply. The first meeting was almost a month ago. At that time, Makoto's gesture left a deep impression on Naruto. Now that we have met for the second time, under close observation, we can see all the details more clearly. Makoto, who has already given birth to 2 children, does not look old at all. Time has not left any traces of aging on her body. She is at her most beautiful age, and her breath is becoming more and more fragrant. It is different from the girly style of Mao Yuxian. It is also different from Hinata Natsu's semi-transformation from a girl to an adult. The Makoto in front of her could be called a beautiful young woman. Those gentle eyes paired with willow eyebrows have an indescribable charm. He was educated by an ancient clan, and his strength was that of a Jonin. The addition of her ladylike temperament and strength makes her more dignified and steady compared to Hinata Hazuki. Coupled with rosy and soft lips and fair skin, she can be described as charming. Certainly, the most striking thing about Uchiha Makoto is naturally, quote. Naruto's sight slowly slid down, and Makoto's bags came into view. Finally, it was Mitsuko. This is Seiko's mother. She is a beauty who is well known in the entire Konoha and even the ninja world. "I'm fine, thank you for your concern." Makoto nodded slightly and thanked Naruto in a gentle tone. The so-called love for the house and the dog. Because of the relationship with Kushina, as a best friend, she couldn't help but be more kind to Naruto. Thinking of Naruto's loss of his parents when he was young, Makoto's eyes became even warmer. "Oh, then I won't bother you, auntie, goodbye." Naruto scratched his head, his eyes narrowed into a slit, and his silly expression directly concealed Makoto's observation. Turned into the crowd and walked towards the opposite side. Soon, Naruto stood with Hyuga and Hyuga Hinata. Makoto blinked as she watched this scene, wondering, why would this kid hang out with the Hyuga clan? And not just any Hyuga. She's a maid from the Hyuga clan, and the eldest daughter of the clan leader, Hyuga Hiyashi. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Makoto also received the scrutiny from the other party. Hyuga Natsu and Hyuga Hinata bowed slightly to her, and then they turned around and left with Naruto. With waves in her heart, Makoto pursed her lips. She looked at the 3 figures, and finally decided to tell her husband Fugaku about this later. "Mom, that guy doesn't seem to be at home." At this time, Seiko came back. She missed the meeting just now perfectly. Looking at her daughter who looked a little disappointed, Makoto comforted her, maybe he went out to buy New Year's items. That's true. Seiko smiled immediately. At this time, he must be with his parents. Seiko, who fantasized about what Naruto's parents looked like, didn't notice her mother's slightly dim eyes. Seiko, Naruto has no parents. Seiko. Hearing this answer, Sako's expression immediately froze, and she was a little surprised, astonished, and at a loss. The child's parents sacrificed for the village, and they are the heroes who saved everyone. With gentle words, she briefly mentioned Naruto's life experience. Makoto knew that Seiko was not suitable to know too much now. Seiko nodded slowly after reacting. No wonder that guy is stupid. She couldn't help but feel a little more pity for Naruto in her heart. Without parents, no one to teach. No one to take care of, living alone. So it must be very difficult. It seems that he has passed my second test. But, if he wants to be my friend, there is still one last hurdle. Looking at her daughter who was arrogant again, Makoto couldn't help but smile. Well, let's keep up the good work and come back after the new year. Seiko. Yeah. On the other side, the three people who were preparing to return walked on the road. Naruto couldn't help but think. Sako's mother, Mom, is so beautiful and kind, I must change the tragedy of the Uchiha clan. Because if Seiko lost her parents and her clan members, she would be so sad. Naruto sighed, and the thought of Peach still emerged in his mind. Tisk, the beauty is the point. Kyuubi rolled his eyes, and he was too lazy to complain. Axia, it's not good. An anxious voice suddenly interrupted Naruto's thoughts. Hyuga's extra, who ran out of breath, appeared in front of Naruto and the other two. Naruto knew him when he was playing with the Hyuga clan these 2 days. This guy is called Hosuksuchi, and he is about the same age as Hyuga Natsu, and he is the latter's childhood friend. Of course, living together in a tribe, almost all children of the same age can be called childhood friends. What are you so flustered about? Hyuga Natsu immediately stood still, showing a serious attitude. This trained calm look is very professional. Ha, ha. Hyuga Hosuksuchi, the young man, took a few breaths before speaking again. Hokage-sama, Elder Yan, Elder Shaochun, and Lord Danzo, 4 high-ranking officials brought several anbu and surrounded our Hyuga clan's base. Hinata Shaw was shocked. What? Hey, Naruto shrugged. The calmness brought by the maid training plan was indeed not real. They did not change their color when the mountain collapsed in front of them, just because they had never seen a real landslide. People like me, Uzumaki Naruto, are real, natural strongmen. As the new year is approaching, the Hyuga base, which should have been harmonious, encountered an unprecedented crisis. The Anbu and the Root people vaguely formed a trend of encircling the Hyuga. Generally speaking, the Konoha high-ranking officials would never blindly issue such orders. Even the Root was dispatched, which was enough to prove the seriousness of the matter. When Naruto and his party returned here, the courtesy between the two sides in the reception hall also came to an end. Hyuga Hiyashi, Hyuga Hazuki, the elders of the main family, all these main family figures gathered on the spot. Hyuga Hazashi and other family members also stood aside or outside the door with their own representatives to listen. The appearance of 4 Konoha high-level officials together means that it is absolutely a big deal. In the middle of the Japanese-style hall, the 3rd-generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen stood with his hands behind his back. The figure, who was not tall to begin with, was now much more hunched. In fact, before Danzo launched the attack, he had already received the latest communication from the Hidden Cloud village. The Raikage claimed that Konoha would hand over the murderer who killed the delegation. And the so-called murderer, of course, refers to Hyuga Hiyashi himself. In other words, they threatened Konoha to trade the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan in exchange for withdrawal. Otherwise, they would use force at the border to seek justice for their dead subordinates. At that time, the war will break out. If that's all, there's no need for the 4 senior officials to visit in person. But the problem is that Danzo has dug up new clues. He didn't say what they were, but just said that everyone would understand when the time came. That's what happened. Sarutobi Hiruzen explained the situation on the spot. The expected Hyuga people had different expressions. No way. Hyuga Hiyashi struggled and released his clenched fist. If you can save the village by sacrificing my life. Hiyashi. Hyuga Yuzuki couldn't help but look at her husband, her eyes full of worry. Don't be impulsive. Just then, the elder of the main family spoke in a leisurely tone. Hyuga's blood limit is an important trump card for the village. He first reminded the importance of Hyuga's Byakugan. The main family's duty is to always protect the Byakugan. Then, the elder of the main family looked at Hyuga Hiyashi who was standing silently on the side. The people of the branch family exist for this kind of thing. At the critical moment of Hyuga's life and death, the most experienced elder of the main family cleverly resolved the attack from the top leaders. Whether the Konoha top leaders are targeting Hyuga or not, the strategy of fighting wits and courage is necessary. As the patriarch of the main family, Hiyashi must not die. Hina is still young and cannot support the entire Hyuga. Once Hiyashi dies, the entire Hyuga clan will collapse. At that time, they will be at the mercy of others and become more miserable than now. We just need to hand over the Hazashi who looks like you. The elder of the main family made a decision, which was also an explanation to Konoha. Quote. Utane Kaharu and Mitomen N looked uncertain. Danzo, who was more cunning, was expressionless and lowered his eyes, making it impossible for people to judge his thoughts by observing his eyes. So, how will the Konoha top leaders take this explanation proposal? The elders of the main family sat in their original positions, motionless, waiting for the response from the higher-ups. The Hyuga clan's residence. Naruto stood at the entrance. The solemn atmosphere filled this old-fashioned clan. Although there were not many comedians and joy here, it was not as bad as today, making the dogs and cats avoid it. The masked groups standing on the walls, the trees, were the members of the Anbu and the Root. Although they wore the same Anbu uniforms, their identities were actually easy to distinguish. The people wearing animal masks are basically from Uezuki Shien's group. The person wearing the evil ghost Shira type mask is the subordinate of the old man Danzo. Taking a random look around, Naruto discovered that Anbu and Gen had dispatched several squads. But it seems that white-haired Kakashi is not here. Probably rushed to the front line. After all, he is the best tool man. Naruto. At this moment, a purple-haired figure greeted Naruto. It's Mao Yuxian. Looks like the Anbu team's 6 guys are not on the same mission. Naruto thought. Don't go there. Mao Yuxian signaled that the rest of the crowd should not go in. She said it very softly, it was the friendship of an acquaintance. It's okay, sister. Naruto nodded slightly and immediately turned into a harmless look. The light speed switching of superb acting skills made even Kyuubi stunned. How good is this kid, in liar? Kyuubi muttered. Naruto-kun. Hinata, who also sensed the change in the clan's atmosphere, couldn't help but raise her right hand and gently grabbed the corner of Naruto's clothes. In her heart, Naruto was her subconscious support. Since being rescued on her birthday, Hinata has completely changed her philosophy. She believed in Naruto wholeheartedly and felt that Naruto could protect her. The demon fox Uzumaki Naruto even knows people from the Anbu. When Hinata saw this scene, she had completely different thoughts in her mind. A storm surged in her heart. Having been shocked many times, she could no longer guess Naruto's true status and situation. She felt more and more panicked. The more I think about it, the more I feel that the behavior that offended the other party in the past was only done by an idiot. Uncle Hazu, are they in trouble? I heard that Grandpa Hokage is also here, can you take me to see him? I usually know Grandpa Hokage quite well. Naruto scratched his head, his expression switching to shy in a second. Give me Uzumaki Naruto some face. Grandpa Hokage is an acquaintance of mine. Mao Yuxian. This, okay. The dark parts are 3, 6 or 9. Different classes have different responsibilities. Among the Anbu ninjas from several classes present today, at least 1/3 of them knew Naruto's identity. So, with their help, Naruto relied on the face and blood succession limit that he had been born with, and soon arrived at the door of the guest house without any hindrance. But today is different from usual. The members of the Hyuga branch who were supposed to guard the gate were replaced by 2 ninjas. Danzo's 2 subordinates look very menacing just by looking at their masks. When Naruto was about to enter the house, these 2 door gods directly blocked Naruto, and even Shi Yan's path. Most Anbu obey orders from higher-ups, even the Hokage. But there are also a group of people with roots, who only listen to Danzo's orders, also known as dead soldiers. Commonly known as dog legs. Then here's the problem. Facing the obstruction, Naruto remembered a question. Boys, are you hot today? In the hall, Danzo has already started the attack. Killing 8 Kumogakure ninjas is a small matter. Why did you, the Hyuga clan, protect Uzumaki Naruto? And, invited him to your base? What is your intention, Hyuga clan? Faced with Danzo's sudden attack, everyone, including Sarutobi Hiruzen, was stunned. Until Danzo opened his eyes, and a fascinating light burst out from them, the atmosphere on the scene suddenly became more anxious. Could it be that you Hyuga clans are planning to rebel? privately controlling the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, covering up the facts, all of this. Or, Hyuga clans colluded with Kumogakure. Danzo's big hat was put on, which directly put the Hyuga clan into a passive position. Because this matter is indeed as Danzo said. It was the Hyuga clan who lied that the killing of 8 Kumogakure ninjas was their own doing. It was also the Hyuga clan who invited Naruto to the Hyuga clan base. Hyuga Hiyashi's forehead was instantly sweating. No Hyuga clan could afford these 2 charges. He was not good at speaking, and faced with the aggressiveness of the ninja dark, he didn't know how to refute for a while. The original discussion of who would die in exchange for peace between the 2 villages instantly turned into a scenario of the Hyuga clan's rebellion or collusion with the enemy. At this moment, even the knowledgeable elders of the main family couldn't help but be shocked, and felt cold for the darkness of Konoha. Konoha's high-level officials. Hokage, it's not like this. Hyuga Yuzuki saw this and immediately pleaded for mercy. Although she was a woman, she didn't have much ability. But she certainly wouldn't sit idly by when the family was dying. Seeing that Hyuga Yuzuki, who was pregnant and had a poor physical condition, was breathing rapidly and had signs of fetal movement, the elders of the main family immediately ordered the servants to send her away. Hyuga Yuzuki's pleading didn't work at all. The evidence that Danzo threw out confirmed all of Hyuga's actions. The elders of the main family couldn't help but feel sad. Originally, they planned to praise the son of the 4th Hokage to show their loyalty to the Konoha high-level officials. But it backfired, and now they can't clear themselves by jumping into the Valley of the End. Hokage-sama, Hinata Yuzuki turned her head and was about to shout a second time. But she heard a sudden, thump, thump, 2 heavy falling sounds in front of her. She was close to the door and heard it first. Everyone present didn't miss a few tenths of a second. The solemn atmosphere disappeared in an instant, and everyone couldn't help but look towards the door. Then, noisy footsteps and exclamations came from outside. What's wrong? What happened? When everyone was confused, the door creaked open. A small, tender figure appeared with its back to the midday sun. The bright light formed a sharp contrast with the shadow figure. Naruto, standing in the middle of the door, looked around the living room and said, "Are you having a tea party? Take me with you." Everyone. The 2 heavy objects that fell to the ground were naturally the 2 rude ninjas who were responsible for guarding the door. However, they were knocked to the ground before they could react to Naruto's sudden attack. Theoretically, this is impossible. But if the opponent is the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, the situation is completely different. Just when Hyuga Sha and others were shocked that Naruto knocked down 2 rude masters in an instant, Naruto also walked into the room smoothly. Naruto. When the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Naruto appear, his mind was blank for a moment. The Naruto that everyone imagined was being manipulated by Hyuga did not happen. Looking at Naruto's arrogant steps, he must have free will. "Grandpa Hokage, I haven't seen you for a few days." Naruto greeted Sarutobi Hiruzen as soon as he came up, which was equivalent to trying to get close to him. The latter's expression visibly eased. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked with a smile, "Naruto, are you okay?" "Yeah." Naruto took the opportunity to hit the old man and understood what the old man was thinking. "These 2 days, the people of the Hyuga clan treated me well. I ate a lot of delicious food, and was given new clothes for the new year." Naruto's description was equivalent to clearing the Hyuga clan of suspicion. Sarutobi Hiruzen was overjoyed and looked at his 3 colleagues, Koharu, Yan, and Danzo, meaning, "You see, the Hyuga clan is very loyal." As he spoke, Naruto walked in and soon came to the center of the hall. And as Naruto's speech came to an abrupt end, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately realized something. Uchiha Koharu also understood, and she winked at the people around her. The irrelevant people began to leave. This fully proves that none of the people who can become high-ranking officials are fools. "Everyone, let's go." Hinata Hiyashi walked to the door and told Hinata Natsu, Hinata Hohitsu and others. Hinata Natsu, who was still in shock, came back to her senses and said yes. She turned back and walked, looking worried, which was very appropriate for this occasion. Because other tribesmen were also confused, or shocked by Naruto's skills. Hinata Natsu was mixed in, and her dumbfounded expression seemed to be very much in line with the crowd. When the door was closed, What Hinata saw was Naruto chatting and laughing casually with the 4 senior executives. At this moment, she completely understood how wrong she was. Uzumaki Naruto was a noble person that she could never offend. Naruto-kun. Hinata looked back, worried in her heart. Hinata-sama, please don't worry, Naruto-kun is not an ordinary person, and Hokage-sama will not embarrass him. Hinata Hazashi bowed his head slightly in a respectful manner. Uncle Hazashi. Hinata raised her head and looked at the elder who had almost the same face as her father, but a very gloomy expression. I don't know if it's an illusion. With the arrival of Naruto-kun, Uncle Hazashi seemed to be in a much better mood. Bang! The door is completely closed. The living room suddenly fell silent. The 4 top executives, Hiruzen Sarutobi, Kaharu, Mito Kaden, and Danzo Shimura, all had different expressions. The elders of the clan, Hinata Hazuki and several others showed joy in their eyes. Everyone present was a respectable person, and only they could make Naruto tell the truth. As the saying goes, merit does not go to waste. Hinata Hazuki frequently exchanged glances with her husband, proving that the Hyuga clan had done nothing wrong. And Naruto-kun's arrival is enough to confirm this. Uzumaki Naruto, do you have something to say? Xiaochun, who had the most irritable temper, was the first to speak. Just like in the original work, the first person to shout for the destruction of Uchiha was neither Danzo nor Hiruzen Sarutobi. Naruto, old mother-in-law Xiaoharu. Xiaochun went to bed. As soon as Naruto opened his mouth, he stabbed Kaharu in the bed. But feel free to do it, he is indeed an old guy anyway. The old man began to give up on himself. She comforted herself, she couldn't be angry, after all. Uzumaki Naruto is the son of the 4th generation after all. Just give Namikaze Minato some face. The remaining 3 senior executives listened attentively. They wanted to hear what Naruto had to say. The Hyuga clan can't run away anyway, right? That night a few days ago, I planned to attend Hinata's birthday party. As we all know, when the Kumogakure delegation arrived that day, only the Hyuga clan did not attend the celebration. The reason is naturally, as Naruto said, it's the clan's eldest daughter's birthday. When the banquet was over and everyone had rested, I was ready to go back. Halfway through, I met a group of people. They were very enthusiastic and wanted to invite me to Union Village as a guest, but I said it was too late. Let's talk about it tomorrow. 4 senior executives. Kyuubi. But they were so enthusiastic that I couldn't shirk them, so I had to follow them to Union Village. Naruto kept talking about the train, but Danzo didn't believe a word of it. This guy is very bad. As both bad breeds, the old bad breed Danzo could tell at a glance that Uzumaki Naruto was a little bad breed. However, as the city is extremely deep, he is not able to break the power so easily. So Danzo asked in a calm and low tone, then why are you still here? Because I saw that their leader invited Hinata again. Maybe he was afraid that I would not be accustomed to the local environment in Union Village. After all, I am not familiar with people and places. If Hinata was invited together, it would be nice to have someone with me. Naruto rubbed his chin and said naively, they are quite weird. Naruto added, enough. After going to bed, Xiaochun stood up suddenly. Although Naruto is full of nonsense, he even has a bit of black humor. But such a simple description can be understood by an individual. Those guys from Kumogakure not only want to get the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan, they actually want to kidnap our Jinchuriki. In this case, the nature of the matter is completely different. The Hyuga clan can die at will. It doesn't matter if you die a Hyuga Hazashi, it doesn't hurt to add a Hyuga Hazashi. The Hyuga clan usually feeds the village and enjoys the benefits of the village. What happened to the critical moment when they sacrificed for the village? But Kumogakure plans to kidnap the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, so that's absolutely intolerable. After all, there is a precedent of Kushina being kidnapped. Kumogakure actually waded into the same river for the 2nd time, wanting history to repeat itself. Hinata Hazuki, and the elders of the clan were stunned throughout the whole process, and their expressions changed gradually. From being dazed because he didn't understand, to figuring out the black meaning, to Naruto taking full responsibility to clarify the truth. The 3 of them couldn't help but feel happy, and even breathed a long sigh of relief. In this way, the crisis for the Hyuga clan will be relieved. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Mito Kadoyan also looked at each other and nodded, finally understanding the truth of the matter. However, Danzo did not intend to stop there. He asked again, Uzumaki Naruto, I ask you, by whom were the 8 Kumogakur ninjas killed? It's Kyuubi. Quote, Naruto insisted, his tone decisive. Kyuubi. I, Naruto Uzumaki, am going to become the 7th Hokage of Great Mitsuru, so how can I have stains on my hands? No, I, Naruto Uzumaki, definitely did not kill anyone. The one who kills is the Nine Tails chakra. Just like Kakuzu's death in the original work. Although all the cells in Kakuzu's body were destroyed by the wind-release spiral shuriken. Even if Kakashi didn't last a last hit, he wouldn't be able to survive for 2 minutes. But the person who killed Kakuzu in the end was Kakashi. What does it have to do with me, Uzumaki Naruto? Naruto thought intoxicatedly. You, personally, killed 8 Kumogakur ninjas. Naturally, Danzo would not be fooled by such a little cleverness. He narrowed his eyes and became aggressive. Just like how they forced the Hyuga clan before. Once it is proven that Uzumaki Naruto is murderous, then, it means that he is a failure. This would allow him to escape from the protection of Sarutobi Hiruzen and directly transfer to his own command. You mean, you want me to succeed you? Naruto's elemental awareness. Maybe this old man Danzo appreciates me, Naruto thought happily. That'll have to wait until I'm a little older. Naruto immediately scratched his head in embarrassment. Blushed with embarrassment. Danzo. Kyuubi. Naruto Uzumaki, how shameless you are. Kyuubi, who couldn't stand it anymore, just wanted to plug his ears. It didn't want to hear Naruto talk. Then it was discovered. Ha, I have no hands. No hands, only claws. No, Kyuubi, don't accuse me wrongly. In fact, I am really pure. When Naruto took the time to talk to Kyuubi in his mind. In reality, the people in this room were stunned by Naruto's speech. Immediately, Sarutobi Hiruzen laughed heartily. Danzo, you saw it too. What did you see? Danzo frowned, a bad premonition flashing through his heart. Naruto, he's just a child. He's just a kid. Just a kid, child. This sentence caused a 10,000-point critical hit to Danzo. Knowing that if they continue to talk, this kid will only continue to act crazy and act stupid, and Sarutobi Hiruzen will definitely protect him. Since the goal cannot be achieved for the time being, it would be better to follow the original plan and let Nanoyu get close to the 9-tailed demon fox. Danzo immediately stood up with his cane and walked out without saying a word. When he pushed the door open and stood at the door, he couldn't help but be startled again when he saw the 2 subordinates lying on both sides of the door. The members of the Hyuga clan looked at this side from a distance. Everyone moves only their eyes but not their hands. Because if they were given 10 courageous people, they wouldn't dare to support the rude person. If Danzo was blackmailed, it would be a big trouble. Old man, do you have any questions? At this moment, Naruto's caring voice came from the hall behind. Oh, 2 of your subordinates just fainted, well, maybe heat stroke. Call. The north wind blows. Today is December 31st. Konoha, the weather is cloudy. Temperature -3 approximately 4. Quote. Danzo held the cane tightly with his right hand, the wooden handle made a clicking sound when he squeezed it, and then he released it again. In the end, the ninja snorted coldly and left in a hurry. Carry these 2 losers back. Danzo's roar gradually faded away. It's been a long time since I saw Danzo deflated. Single quote. Sarutobi Hiruzen held his pipe and looked out the door with a smile. Then he looked back and looked at Naruto with admiration. His simple character was inherited from his parents. Seemingly gentle, but actually strong and responsible, he combines the strengths of both Kushina and Minato. The 2 subordinates who were able to bring down Danzo in an instant also confirmed his strength and further confirmed the authenticity of Hinata's abduction incident. Very good, very good. This kid is as wise as he is foolish. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded secretly and gave a very high evaluation. As Danzo left, the chilling atmosphere disappeared. Everyone watched as the Sandaime Hokage walked to the door, and heard him say, Hazashi, I won't bother you anymore. By the way, Happy New Year. Quote. Congratulating the Hyuga clan on the new year in advance also means that this matter has come to an end. The Anbu and Gen's people left quietly. The entire Hyuga clan's residence returned to tranquility. Grandpa Hokage, Naruto left with the Sandaime and the other two senior officials. The Hyuga clan members stopped where they were, discussing something in whispers. Several members of the clan looked at Naruto's back with deep praise and gratitude. Hazu, next, you have to thank Naruto-kun. The clan elder gave a meaningful instruction. I understand. Rizu nodded lightly. Naruto, how are you controlling the power of the Nine Tails? Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around and looked at Naruto beside him. From Azuki Shien, he had already learned that Naruto could control some of the Nine Tails' power to a certain extent. But to what extent it is specific, we still have to listen to Naruto's own description. It's okay, I can control two tails now. Naruto held out two fingers and counted, 2. Well, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded slightly, and began to estimate Naruto's strength with two tails in his mind. But this seemingly ordinary conversation caused uproar in the ears of Koharu and Mitokado. The two looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Back then, after the first Hokage conquered the Kyuubi, he thought the Kyuubi's power was too dangerous. He planned to seal the Kyuubi forever. That is, never enable this theory. The Shudaime's attitude towards the sealing of the Kyuubi's power affected the first Jinchuriki, his wife Uzumaki Mito. Then came the second Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Kushina. Both Jinchuriki never considered using the power of the Kyuubi. Their decision to seal the Kyuubi until death was also a decision made by Konoha's top brass. But what if there is even a glimmer of possibility? The Jinchuriki of Konoha can freely control the tailed beast chakra like the Jinchuriki of other villages. So, will the situation of the past 3 ninja wars be reversed differently? Of course, the ancestral laws are immutable. The policy set by the first Hokage is absolute, unquestionable, unchangeable, correct, and targeted. Any successor will actually not look for trouble by denying his ancestors or anything like that. Dare to say that the ancestors are not good, that is the will not to fire. But now it is Naruto who can control the power of the Nine Tails, and it has nothing to do with us. Go to bed, Koharu and Mito Menyon spread their hands. So, the value of this boy Naruto. In an instant, Naruto's worth skyrocketed, and he became a hot treasure in the eyes of two senior elders, Mito Kadoin and Koharu. What does it mean that you can control part of the Kyuubi's power at such a young age? This is something that neither Mito-sama nor Kushina could do back then. Even if this kid can't become a perfect Jinchuriki like 8 Tails Kurabi, or 4th Mizukage Godachibana Yagura. The experience of controlling the Kyuubi is enough to be passed on to the next generation. Snort. That swarthy, rough guy in Union Village, Raikage Eye, is really hateful. Xiaochen's attitude changed when he went to bed, and he immediately made up his mind to fight Union Village to the end. New and old grudges, not counting the revenge of the second Hokage being killed by Kumogakure. Koharu, who became angry, immediately left in a hurry with Mitokaden and began to prepare for the border war. Sarutobi Hiruzen stopped and looked at Naruto, his eyes full of kindness. If Asuma had half, no, 1/3 of the cleverness and understanding of Naruto, he wouldn't be. Sigh. Don't think about the prodigal son you have today with a cool hairstyle. Sarutobi Hiruzen coughed and spoke again. Naruto, how do you plan to spend the new year? Grandpa Hokage, everyone in Hinata is very enthusiastic. They invited me to spend the new year here. Naruto scratched his head and replied. This can be regarded as indicating the meaning. Well, that's good. Sarutobi Hiruzen exchanged greetings with Naruto for a few more words, then left with a smile. When he was far away, he thought of something again. Shiyan, Hokage-sama. Azuki Shien's figure flashed beside the former. Naruto, please take more care of that child. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. Maoyu Shien was very puzzled. She was extremely frustrated and knew very well that Naruto's strength did not require her protection at all. Then why did Hokage-sama give special instructions? Could it be, is it because of Danzo-sama? Duanzo wouldn't do something like that. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head. As long as he lives for a day, Danzo will not dare to do bad things blatantly. So, it's not because of Danzo. I just hope that more and more people will stand around the child, so that he can feel the warmth of the big family. This can also be regarded as compensation for Naruto. And Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that Yugao was a very good candidate. Because she didn't resist getting along with Naruto. He wouldn't hate Naruto like the villagers did. The more people who are kind to Naruto, the child, maybe he can become the perfect Jinchuriki, and even the Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at the dark clouds passing in the sky. The sun appeared and its warm light shone on the earth. Those who have attained the truth will receive much help, while those who have lost the truth will receive little help. The so-called Hokage is a person recognized by everyone. The residents of the Hyuga clan. Everyone from the clan and branch families gathered at the door. Naruto walked back struttingly, without any stage fright, as if he was a born leader. Everyone in Hyuga, who had been stunned, finally woke up like a dream and confirmed that the crisis was really over. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, but before they had time to celebrate, they heard a thump. Shocked by everyone, shock in his eyes, their clan leader, Hinata Hazashi, the scholar knelt down in front of Naruto. Naruto-kun, thank you for saving my brother's life, thank you for saving my clan. His expression was frozen in shock. Hinata Natsu looked at this scene with a small mouth, and her whole body felt bad. Everyone in the Hyuga clan was stunned. They stood there, watching the clan leader kneel down to Naruto, a little child, and for a moment they couldn't help but feel huge waves in their hearts. It took a while for them to react. At this moment, everyone understood one thing. That is, Naruto Uzumaki is the benefactor of the Hyuga clan and a noble person who must not be offended. Naruto has been playing with the Hyuga clan for 2 days, and basically everyone has seen Naruto's face more or less. At this time, Ninki and other children standing in the crowd couldn't help but feel shocked. Hazashi, who looked gloomy, couldn't help but feel relieved at this time. After experiencing this crisis, he understood his position in his brother's heart. As the head of the family, the elder brother is serious to the point of being old-fashioned and mean. Yet it was a duty he had to fulfill. In fact, his love for his family and his younger brother is not inferior to other brothers at all. It was the Hyuga clan's rules that were in question, not their brotherhood. Naruto-kun, watching her father kneeling down for Naruto, Hinata almost smiled from ear to ear. A faint blush appeared on her little face. In her mind, Naruto was now as tall as Hokage Rock. Even my father knelt down before Naruto-kun. Naruto-kun is so awesome. Quote. Seeing Hinata's expression, the Kyuubi in Naruto's belly almost laughed out loud at her joyful expression. But, why can't I laugh? In the past, Kyuubi, who had great respect for the immortal of 6 paths and was regarded as a half-filial son, understood the reason after thinking about it carefully. Because this is too hellish. It's over, there's no hope. Kyuubi shook his head. Hinata, a human female cub, has been completely eaten to death by Uzumaki Naruto. The Hyuga clan has completely lost hope. As the ancestor of the Hyuga clan and the brother of the old man of 6 paths, Hamura Otsutsuki would definitely cry if he knew about the development of his descendants. Uncle Rizu, please get up quickly. Naruto was stunned for a moment and immediately looked at a loss. After some excuses, Hinata stood up. Hinata Hazuki, who was stroking her belly and watching this scene, smiled even more gently. Hinata's crisis was resolved, and she became acquainted with Naruto-kun, the son of the 4th generation. No matter how hard she works, Hinata will marry Naruto when she grows up. The status of the Hyuga clan is rising. A bright road ahead. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that Hinata Hazuki had a bright future. At this moment, Naruto looked very satisfied. There are dozens of layers of filters. All he had to do was call his son-in-law. The new year is coming, and the Hinata resident is having a great time. Everyone is happy, everyone is happy. Of course, there is one exception. Everyone, let's start preparing for the new year. Naruto-kun is our guest, Hinata. This year's celebration must be a grand one. The elders of the clan have grown up. Everyone cheered happily with smiles on their faces. Everyone went their separate ways and started to get busy in the clan. Axia, Hinata was planning to ask Hinata to prepare some snacks to fill her stomach at noon. But Hinata who was standing there, was motionless at this time. Because her situation is completely different from other Hyuga clan members. Although other tribesmen had previously thought that Naruto was a demon fox and were dissatisfied with him. But no tribesman really spoke to ridicule, or even drove Naruto away. On the contrary, she, after such a series of interactions and development, turned herself into a clown. Hinata, you need to get along well with Naruto-kun. Hinata stood up and touched her daughter's head. From the bottom of his heart, he also hoped that the Hyuga clan could climb onto the high tree of Naruto. Lord Hokage personally approved and confirmed it. It proved that Naruto-kun was not only not given up by the high-level officials of Konoha, but was actually a hot treasure. Naruto-kun, you must be tired after walking around for a long time. Hinata Hazuki walked to Naruto with a smile on her face. After coming back to his senses, Hinata immediately cleared the way and respectfully invited Naruto to go forward. However, at this time, Naruto was just talking and laughing with Hinata Hazuki and ignored her at all. This left Hinata Shaw at a loss. Especially, when she saw the patriarch's eyes glancing here slightly, there seemed to be hesitation in his eyes. This made her even more frightened. With his head lowered and his lips pursed, Hinata Shaw made a decision in her heart. Night. New Year preparations. Konoha's streets and alleys are decorated with lights and colorful lanterns. The Hyuga clan is no exception. This year's New Year, this old-fashioned clan rarely uses a lot of bright colors. This indicates celebration, and also indicates the change of the Hyuga clan. Hohitsu stood on the ladder and hung the last red lantern. Axia. He looked down from above and saw Chingmei passing by with small steps. Axia. XN. The next second, loud and multiple shouts rang out in the whole courtyard. There are a large number of young Hyuga clan members of the same age and similar age. They greeted Hyuga Shaw one after another. There is no way, among the same age, only the girls with the best qualities are qualified to be selected as servants of the main family. In other words, for them, Hyuga Shaw is the object of admiration for almost everyone. At this time, Hyuga Shaw, who was worried in her heart, raised her eyes because of the shouts. That gentle face suddenly became serious. Don't make a loud noise. After saying that, she continued to walk forward with her belongings. When she passed the quiet courtyard, the clan members began to talk. Just now, Shaw looked at me and talked, which means Shaw likes me. Nonsense. Shaw was obviously looking at me when she said that. Me. It should be me. It's me. Unlike the happy family members of the branch family, as the road stretched, Hyuga Shaw's heart became more and more depressed. What she held in her hand was the new clothes to be worn for the new year. Madam Hyuga Yuzuki asked her to personally deliver it to Naruto-kun. At this time, it was already 10 o'clock in the evening. The sky was full of stars. The moonlight in the sky and the artificial light on the ground complemented each other, illuminating the Hyuga clan's residence. The New Year celebration is at 12 o'clock in the evening. Since Hinata is a child, she is still sleeping. After all, it is difficult for children to stay up late. So she didn't come with us. My task is to wake Naruto-kun up, take care of everything before 12 o'clock, and then invite him to the main living room to celebrate the New Year with everyone. Hinata Shaw thought about these things and walked to the door of the room unconsciously. Inside the house, Naruto supported his head with one hand and lay on the tatami with boredom. His half-closed eyes flickered. An unknown conversation took place in the spiritual space. You offended that guy Shimura Danzo, you will have a hard time in the future. The Nine-Tailed Ninja's secret warning. Shimura Danzo is the worst ninja in the current ninja world. If you offend him, you will be finished in the future. And you will also drag me down. So, why do you want to offend him? After all, there is no reason to guard against thieves for 1,000 days. When the enemy comes, the general will stop it, and when the water comes, the earth will cover it. Naruto didn't care at all. Besides, if I don't offend him, he won't take the initiative to trouble me. Naruto spit out a watermelon seed boredly. In this world, you can eat artificially cultivated watermelons in winter. Big families are rich and luxurious. Who do you think spread the rumor that I am a demon fox? The official novel, Itachi's True Biography, clearly states that the rumor about the demon fox was spread by Danzo. You mean? Kyuubi understood immediately. Today, I met with 4 Konoha high-level officials. The performance of Uchiha Koharu and others has proved their attitude. So the problem lies with that old man Danzo. HMPH. I haven't settled accounts with him yet. Even if we don't mention the slander of the Demon Fox rumor, it makes him in a difficult situation. Danzo is also planning in his heart to deal with Hinata, Uchiha, and then himself. To save various tragedies, save Seiko and Aunt Makoto, he must face that old fool Danzo. Naruto hummed and stood up. Someone is coming. Knock knock knock. Naruto-kun. The silhouette of Hinata Shaw appeared on the paper sliding door. Who is it? Naruto shouted. Quote. There was a long silence. From here, and the slightly trembling projection on the door, we can know how the maid of the Branch family feels at this moment. My husband, my wife asked me to send new clothes. When you are ready, let's go celebrate the new year together. Hinata Shaw added some details, trying to make her tone sound gentle. Naruto. Well, please come in. Quote. Swish. The paper sliding door opened. Hinata Shaw slowly raised her eyes and breathed a sigh of relief when she found nothing unusual. She picked up her clothes and walked in slowly. The moonlight from outside fell on the tatami, adding a touch of illumination to the dark room. Generally speaking, Hinata Shaw would turn on the lights at this time. However, her expression at this time was a little strange, as if she was struggling. Perhaps she was considering whether to apologize. All this was seen by Naruto. And the Nine Tails, lying in the spiritual space, keenly noticed the changes in the environment. Nine Tails. It's become dark here. Quote. Naruto's eyes swept over Hinata Shaw instantly. At a close distance, he took a good look at the pretty maid of the Branch family. I don't know if it's because of the moon. The monster inside me started to tremble. Slowly putting down the new clothes, Hinata Shaw's mouth trembled a few times and pulled out a flattering smile. But it looks stiff no matter how you look at it. Naruto-kun, what happened before? I'm sorry. From hesitation to determination. From slow to quick apology. After saying this, Hinata Shaw bowed his head deeply. To her, this was the lowest possible gesture. It took a lot of effort for her to make up her mind. Apologize. The ambient air temperature seemed to drop suddenly by a few degrees. Naruto's tone turned cold. The blue pupils instantly turned into vertical red pupils, and a needle-like light lit up in the darkness. I don't see your sincerity. You were indifferent to me in the past, but now I have made it impossible for you to reach high. Naruto felt that he did not have such thoughts. Because the attitude of this separate maid has nothing to do with being indifferent. Kai Guguo's hatred, disgust and harsh expulsion are her true attitude towards herself. Doesn't this morally corrupt maid know that this will leave a profound shadow on my childhood as a little friend? Who is responsible if I grow crooked? I, Naruto Uzumaki, will become the successor of the Will of Fire in the future. Hinata Natsu. Without waiting for Hinata to defend himself, Naruto quickly spat out a series of sentences. Just saying a casual word is tantamount to an apology, so what else do you need from the police department? Of course I, Uzumaki Naruto, can be magnanimous and not retaliate against you. But you won't. I thought an insincere apology could get my forgiveness. Quote. Hug. Sorry. Hinata Shaw immediately raised his head and met those terrifying eyes. She was immediately startled, because this was never the case when dealing with Naruto. Thinking of Naruto's identity as the Demon Fox, she naturally guessed that this was the manifestation of the Demon Fox's power, so she was really scared at this time. She still has fresh memories of the year when the nine-tailed Demon Fox went berserk and the huge destruction caused by that scene. If the other party goes berserk, this crime of inducing the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki to explode will definitely become his own fault. No, Naruto-kun, I'm really sorry. In addition, being oppressed by Nine-Tails chakra at close range is not something that ordinary people can bear. Looking at the separated maid who was becoming more and more incoherent, Kyuubi even felt a little pity. It believed that Naruto at this time was more like a devil. Eloquent, clear in logic, and amazing in eloquence, he easily suppressed her. So, could this also be a kind of blood inheritance limit? Its name, mouth escape. Oh, I'm not good at talking, so I'm really not suitable for preaching. Naruto smiled innocently 1 second, and turned cold at the speed of light the next. So, the devilish needle-shaped red light stared closely at the pretty maid in front of her. Hinata Natsu is 17 years old this year. He is an authentic member of the Hyuga clan. Although it is a bit strange to say this, it is actually in the official setting of Naruto. Byakugan's bloodline has branches. For example, a surname group called Kohinata is the product of countless generations of differentiation. The advantage of being a purebred, coupled with standing out from the competition for maid positions, makes her extremely pure. The intensity of a Hinata's Byakugan can be judged by the crystal clearness of her eyes. In terms of figure, she is a more traditional kind of girl. Neither tall nor short. The Hyuga clan has always been old-fashioned. The dark home kimono that covers the wrists and ankles shows conservatism. However, when a lacy maid outfit is put on this dark house lining, everything becomes different. Especially, the new maid outfit she is wearing now adopts a new style that will become popular from the end of the year to next year. Beautiful feet wearing wooden clogs, slender hands, and a fair and beautiful face. Plus the temperament brought by the maid training. This makes her fully equipped with the professionalism of uniform seduction, and her astringent temperament is directly full. It can only be said that the people in the Hyuga clan really understand. Quote. Just express it with actions. Well, I mean, when you apologize, you have to. This is common sense. Naruto's eyes finally locked on the pretty maid's neck. What? Hinata Shaw's eyes suddenly opened wide, she couldn't believe what she heard. The demon fox boy, what is he talking about? What, don't want to? Naruto didn't give the other party a chance to react, but quickly began to reason again in an aggressive manner. In order to thank me, your clan leader even knelt down in front of all the Hyuga clan members to show his sincerity. And I just asked you to do this little thing, and you feel aggrieved. Huh. He used Hyuga Hazu to suppress others, directly widening the status gap between the two again. Woo. Looking down at Naruto, there is an absolute height difference between the two. However, at this moment, Hinata Shaw felt that she was the one being looked down upon. She clenched her teeth and her body trembled slightly, as if she was having a fierce mental struggle. The maid who was too simple-minded quickly succumbed to Naruto's proposal. I understand. She forced out a reply between her teeth. Nothing to lose. A slight sense of compromise emerges. She comforted herself, thinking that as long as she paid a small price, she could solve the problem, which was relatively cost-effective. Then, under Naruto's gaze, the pretty maid of the separated family slowly raised her hands. A rustling sound sounded. Visibly, her cheeks began to turn red rapidly. At this time, her expression also looked a little weird. Because although I want to compromise subjectively, the real disgust in my heart still exists. At the moment when the identity of Naruto's fourth-generation son is not known. The superficial disguise intertwined with the true feelings in the heart, and finally, formed a look that made people look forward to it. The disgust appeared naturally on the pretty face. And for Naruto, what a nice expression. Naruto grinned, his pupils flashing with tiny red light, turning his face into a devilish ferocious look. At the same time, the Uchiha clan was stationed. Just like the people of the Hyuga clan. Every household raises lanterns and waits for the ringing of the New Year's bell. Uchiha Fugaku family. Itachi followed his mother's instructions and planned to wake up his sister. The properties of chakra, fire, earth, water, wind, thunder, yin, yang, came to my sister's room. Dream whispers came from inside. Itachi, with his keen senses, immediately heard these faint murmurs. He gently opened the door and saw his sleeping sister. My sister's sleeping face is very cute. And when he was asleep, he was still talking about ninja knowledge. This made Itachi's mouth curl up involuntarily. If my sister works so hard, she will realize her dream one day. Zaozi, Zuozi. With Itachi's soft call, Seiko woke up slowly. She looked hazy, and her mind was still full of images of wandering in the ocean of knowledge in her dreams. Brother. Zuozi raised his eyes and looked at his brother who woke him up. Seiko, get up. We can't miss the new year. Itachi said, staring at his sister, planning to wait until her sister was completely awake. Oh. Zuozi rubbed his eyes and moved his mouth, wanting to say something, but finally stopped. It's strange, she thought to herself. Whenever I dream every day recently, I dream about all kinds of knowledge. Things that I have obviously never learned or come into contact with appear in my dreams all at once. What's wrong, Seiko? Itachi asked after noticing something strange about his sister. Nothing. Zuozi stood up quickly, feeling that his body was much lighter again. Power, speed, knowledge that pops into your head. His whole body was undergoing constant transformation, becoming stronger at an unimaginable speed. At first, Zuozi was happy about this, thinking that his practice had made great progress. But slowly, she realized that this was not the case. In order not to worry her family, she hid her condition. At most, I just want to go to Konoha Hospital for a secret checkup after the new year. Brother, let's go to the living room. Zuozi waved his hand and showed a concealed smile. She felt her smile was natural enough. Itachi watched silently as his sister's profile turned into a back. Sako's strangeness started last month. That is, from the time I came into contact with Uzumaki Naruto. Therefore, the change in my sister is most likely related to Uzumaki Naruto. It's not like I haven't looked for Uzumaki Naruto before, but he's basically not at home. It seems I can only go there after the new year. Itachi muttered, feeling a little more gloomy in his heart. Reminiscent of Shisui's evaluation of Uzumaki Naruto. Itachi felt that it might not be that simple for his sister to get along with each other. In addition, watching the sister you raised by yourself make friends, you should be happy. But what's going on with this vague annoyance in my heart? Sure enough, I should visit again after the new year, until I meet Uzumaki Naruto. The Hyuga clan's residence, where the paper sliding door is closed. This way, you can forgive me. The cold wind blew past him. Hinata Natsu glanced to the side and placed it in front of her. The hands under her neck trembled slightly, and she almost finished her words intermittently. She felt her cheeks turning red at the moment. Shame, and shyness. Ever since I was a child, I have never had such an experience. The Hyuga clan was born into a traditional family and has always been instilled with conservative education. Making this move is simply immoral. A huge sense of shame enveloped her, and the blood rushed to her brain, making her head buzz. It's like a long-held prison being opened. The new world she had never faced gave her the idea of liberation. This thought turned into a huge stimulation, making the body tremble. Forgive, I never said. Naruto's cold words rang out, instantly extinguishing the fire in her heart from head to toe. Hinata Natsu, whose blood had cooled down for the most part, glanced over his head in disbelief and met Naruto's eyes. The expression of disgust and disgust turned into astonishment. You. As soon as she said a word, her eyes blurred. Wow. The paper sliding door closed in a second, and his vision suddenly fell into darkness. Then, she felt a pain in the crook of her leg. Plop. Knees hit the floor. The whole person was forced to kneel on the ground. Before she could react, Naruto, who was already level with the kneeling woman, stretched out his hand, and grabbed it hard. Yeah. Hinata Shaw's cry of pain instantly echoed through the dark room. At the same moment, the Zong family's room. Hinata. Hinata. As a mother, Hinata Hazuki gently called her daughter's name. Mom. The sleepy Hinata opened her eyes, and her mother's beautiful appearance in new clothes came into view. To prepare for the new year, every member of the Hyuga clan bought or had new clothes custom made. Mother and daughter are no exception. Staring at her dignified, beautiful and gentle mother, Hinata's face turned red and her heart was full of longing. If, when I grow up, I can become as beautiful as my mother. As she thought about it, Hinata's thoughts began to drift away. He even thought of marrying Naruto. Fortunately, she is still young, so she hasn't thought about what to call her child yet. Hinata Hazuki stared at her daughter's expression, not knowing what her daughter was thinking. She gently lifted her daughter up from the bed and said to her, Hinata, it's time to put on new clothes and welcome the new year. As long as you put on new clothes, you will definitely become cuter. Under such a hint, Hinata quickly took action in order to show her best side in front of Naruto. Change into new clothes, dress up, and put a light-colored flower on the side of your head. Hinata, look in the mirror. After finishing dressing up her daughter, Hinata Hazuki held her daughter's shoulders and asked her to turn around. Looking at herself in the mirror, Hinata's eyes couldn't help but tremble. If Naruto-kun sees him later, he will definitely praise himself for being cute. Mom, thank you. Hinata Hazuki gently stroked her daughter's head. Hinata, let's go to the lobby. The time points to 11 o'clock. An hour, to Hinata Shaw, is as long as a year. Ha, ha, she fell to the ground on her side, her thin lips parted, and she kept panting. 2 lines of hot tears flowed down the wet tears. The usually solemn white eyes became slightly dim at this moment, even slightly absent. This look of being bullied makes me feel pity for him. However, Naruto's expression revealed cruelty. It's like a human child seeing a butterfly with broken wings only finds it amusing, without any sympathy. This is the innocence and cruelty unique to children. Stand up. Staring down at the maid who fell to the ground, Naruto ordered in a tone that left no room for doubt. Woo! Hinata Shana's body in maid uniform trembled. His eyes slowly regained their luster. You didn't even change my clothes, and you fell down. A professional maid, huh? Naruto gestured with his eyes, looking at the new clothes piled neatly on the side. This new set of clothes was bought from the commercial street when I was shopping in the morning. Of course, Hinata's mother Hinata Hazuki provided the money. Quote. Slowly tightening her slender lips, Hinata Shaw managed to use her arms to prop up her body from the ground. However, this pulls on the injured part of the body. The tortured, bruised skin was screaming. In a kneeling position, she slowly turned towards Naruto. Gritting his teeth and enduring the bursts of pain, he began to change Naruto into new clothes. And immediately, Naruto's hidden secret appeared before her eyes for the 3rd time. The dark house was only illuminated by the faint light cast by the lights outside through the sliding paper doors. In the dark environment, Hinata Shaw clearly saw that the monster was rising. When the terrifying monster appeared in front of her eyes, she couldn't help but be slightly stunned. The body that was originally trembling from the pain was even more trembling now. Resist the thought of running away. Her shaking hands turned to pick up the new clothes placed on the tatami. However, it was this side of her head. Her hair brushed past the terrifying monster. This seemed to alarm the monster. The awakened companion monster became more hideous, terrifying, and hot. Hyuga Shaw lowered her head and did not dare to look at Naruto. She fumbled and put on new clothes for Naruto as much as possible. Woo! At a certain moment, Hyuga Shaw groaned in pain, and seemed to scream. Naruto ignored her at all. Instead, he lowered his head and played with and admired the exquisite steamed buns of the Hyuga clan in front of him. Hyuga Shaw's breathing became increasingly rapid. Perhaps it was because of fear, or it could be other reasons. Time passed by minute. After all the hardships, she finally helped Naruto put on new clothes. And as the pressure suddenly disappeared, the other party finally let her go. Naruto turned his head and looked at himself in the mirror, wearing a water blue Japanese kimono, and nodded slightly. Japanese, yo, she. Ninetail, who had tried to figure out the meaning of the sentence in vain, decided to give up thinking. After all, this kid always came up with things that it couldn't understand, and it didn't know who he learned from. And what this kid had just done to this human female was enough of a demon. The other party's former arrogance disappeared without a trace in just 1.5 hours. Then, Naruto looked at his right hand. As the saying goes, giving warmth to others leaves a lingering fragrance on your hands. Really good. As he said that, Naruto looked into the eyes of the pretty maid. The implication in it made Hinata Shaw feel chilled. From this look, she knew that the forgiveness she hoped for might not be so easy to get completely. Next time, when Naruto started to speak, footsteps came from the corridor outside the door. From the sound, it should be Hinata's footsteps. Quote. Hearing that there would be a next time, Hyuga Natsu shuddered. However, the matter was already settled, and she had no say in the established facts. She couldn't help but regret that she had provoked someone she shouldn't have provoked. Naruto saw through Hyuga Natsu's expression. With just one glance, Naruto saw through her thoughts. Just like those bad guys who were caught all regretted it, in fact, they just regretted that they made a mistake and were caught instead of sincerely repenting. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.